Are we back? Live pug. I don't know what happened there. The internet just decided to kind of shit itself, I guess. But I think we're back. Are we live? Can you guys see the screen and everything? Should be all normal. Yes, okay, I guess Twitch is just being weird then. Twitch is giving me mixed results on what's actually happening. Give me a sec to... Oh, there we go. Now it gets it. 15 or 16 for multiplayer? I don't know. Toast knows, though. I don't know how much you missed, but it probably wasn't much since you at least saw Country Yard. 16. Alright. That was a big rip. That's the first time that's happened at my new house, so I don't fully understand what exactly happened, but my router didn't have all its lights on, so it seems like this was more of the internet actually shitting itself. Here's the reality. At the old house, it wasn't the internet shitting itself, it was a extender shitting itself. Sending my dudes need ingredients free. Yeah, at the old house, I would have the router was at the other end of the house and also on a different floor. So so I had like like a Wi-Fi extender thingy, and really that would shit itself. And I imagine it's because it was transferring so much data with me trying to stream that it just exploded. And that's why, despite this internet technically being slightly worse and also technically being the same, I have a better connection most of the time. The internet just actually shitted itself this time, so hopefully that will not become the new norm, because I really enjoyed that at this new house the stream didn't constantly stop anymore. Anyway, let's continue. Yo can no longer stop the words pouring from her lips. She fears that if she does not unleash her feelings now, they will be lost forever. I think we can help you, so you don't have to deal with it all by yourself. Even if we can't do anything, just talking to us might make you feel better. I want to help you. We all do, so please... Tell me. Stop it, Fuminori shouts. Sound Signo's, Entrianti? God damn it, this... Oh no. Wait, why is it red? Oh, it's dropping frames even though I have high bitrate? Wow, that was weird. I've never seen that happen before. It was dropping frames, but my bitrate didn't go down. That is super fucking weird. What the hell? I was still transferring like 5,000 kilobytes a second, but I was dropping frames. That's fucking wacky. I've never seen OBS do that. Holy shit. Okay, it's back to green though. Hopefully it stays green. She promised herself that she wouldn't back down, but Fuminori's expression is terrible enough to shatter her resolve. The look in his eyes is not anger or any other warm-blooded emotion. It is hate. Murderously cold hate. Come to think of it, I never gave you an answer, did I? He remembers. He remembers, and still he has treated her so coldly. That is all the answer she needs. If his words stabbed any deeper, she might very well die. I never saw you in any special way before. When you asked me out, I wasn't sure how to respond. But I got Saya now, bitch. I don't know how I really felt about you then. Fuminori. Again, she said the last name, but sure. But now I can give you an answer. I've had plenty of time to think it over, you know. I hate you, Tsukuba. I don't even want to look at you. Don't cry, Hyo tells herself, but too late to stop the tears pouring from her eyes. I suppose it's too much to hope I never see you again. We do go to the same school. God damn it! We do go to the same school. So just make this the last time you speak to me, okay? Your voice makes me sick. How can you be so cruel? Hyo whispers in shock and despair. To which Fuminori twists his lips into a malevolent smile. You should really try thinking for yourself once in a while. I bet it was Koji Nomi's idea, wasn't it? Well, you can play it love all you want, but leave me out of it. Damn. I just fucking destroyed her. That's all Hyo can take. Even after shedding tears in front of him, she absolutely refuses to let him hear her cry. Any disgrace would be preferable to breaking down here. So she runs, fleeing breathlessly from the courtyard with Fuminori's cold smile at her back. Bruh. Yeah, that was a serious bruh moment. Fuminori just... I mean... But I kind of get it. I don't... I wouldn't go the same way, but I also probably wouldn't resolve to not tell anyone what's going on and continue to live in this kind of state of mind. But if Fuminori said, you know, he's like, I've resolved to keep living this life, to just deal with the problem. So if he's deciding to stick with it, and if he's deciding, then I get that the people, if there were just the certain people who look like monsters to him and are trying to be close to him, I can get why he'd be like rejecting them. I mean, he's got Saya to fuck anyway, so it's fine. Umi was the first to catch sight of Hyo and Fuminori leaving for the courtyard. The country yard. Reluctant to interrupt them, but still unwilling to leave them alone, she and Koji end up watching the whole thing from the shadows. That arsehole. Throughout the exchange, Umi was clearly itching to jump out and punch Fuminori in the face. Knowing her temper, Koji kept firm hold of her arm until the end. If he hadn't, she might very well have done it. Fuminori leaves after Hyo, his every step seeming to take an act of willpower. Koji sighs heavily into the once more empty courtyard, but the bitter taste in his mouth will not go away. What's wrong with him? Even Koji cannot forgive Fuminori's treatment of Hyo. However, the first thing that he feels is confusion, not anger. Koji has known Fuminori since long before college. Fuminori was never this cruel before. There's no question now that the accident changed him. Are you just gonna let this go? I don't want to, but what can we do? Something besides watch. Umi shouts, her face red with fury. I won't be satisfied until I give him a piece of my mind. That won't make Tsukuba feel better. But it'll make me feel better. Hyo and Umi are best friends, just like Koji and Fuminori. In fact, it was the relationship between Koji and Umi that brought the other two together. Umi's anger is only natural. I'm gonna talk to him alone. You don't have to come. You serious? Take care of Hyo for me, will you? She's probably really hurt. She needs someone to be nice to her after she's done crying. Wait, shouldn't we switch jobs? You know how I am. If I try to comfort her, I'll end up making it worse. Yeah, you've got a point. Hey. Anyway, just go easy, okay? Ending the conversation before Umi's mood gets any worse, Koji heads off to find Hyo. Feel awful, miserable, but also refreshed. Finally crossed the line. I knew it would come crashing down like this sooner or later. Having become unable to feel anything but disgust for other people, there was no way I could hope to maintain the relationships I'd had before the accident. Today's incident will definitely get back to Koji Nomi, and everyone will be convinced I've had made a change of character. Honestly, I don't care anymore. At least, I probably won't be committed for this. I just need to avoid acting any stranger than I already have. If this puts a rift between me and the others, good. The thought of all the stress I'll avoid brings a smile to my lips. I'm fed up with them sticking their noses into my life. It's like they don't care that they make my gut turn just by being near me. I've been terrified of them until now, but today I struck fear into one of them. In this sense, it's something of a relief, but I'm not entirely without remorse for what happened. The person I just demolished with the verbal equivalent of a nuclear bomb used to be my friend, Yo. Even if my senses don't believe it, my mind accepts the theory. I don't have any particular grudge against Yo herself, and I didn't want to hurt her. In retrospect, perhaps I should have just ignored her outright. Yo was an attractive girl. I certainly didn't think badly of her. To be honest though, I was annoyed when Koji and Nomi tried to stick us together. It felt like they were using us as entertainment, and Yo seemed totally oblivious to the fact that she was dancing to that tune. Her cluelessness was irritating. Still, I know that none of them meant any harm. Back then, I didn't have any reason to hurt others just to get my way. If having a casual relationship with Yo would keep our circle of friends together, I was willing to make that compromise. Now, however, there is no room in my heart for such forbearance. If merely talking to someone isn't an ordeal, then how can I be expected to show them kindness? These ruminations have left me exhausted. I want to return to Saya as soon as possible, but thinking about the packed trains and crowded downtown streets between here and home saps my spirit. Catching sight of a nearby bench, I sit down and close my eyes to the horrors of this world. I can't do anything about the stink or the noise, but at least I can calm my nerves enough to rest. When I regained consciousness in the T University Hospital ward, the world was as dark as it is now. I had not yet recovered my sight, even though my eyes and optical nerves weren't damaged. It must have been an after effect of the accident. Blindness was a shock, but now I know that my suffering then was nothing. After all, my senses of hearing, touch, taste, and smell were all fine at the time. The real horror began when my sight returned. The one small mercy was that I was able to come to terms with the accident and my neurosurgery while still blind. I panicked when I first saw the nightmarish hospital and the blood-curdling shapes of the doctors and nurses, but I soon guessed the cause. It chills me to think of what might have happened if I had recovered my sight along with my consciousness, suddenly awakening in what can only be described as hell. I would no doubt have lost my mind instantly. Soon my disorder spread to the senses of touch, taste, and smell. As it turns out, sight exerts tremendous influence over the other four. The taste of my food, the feel of my bed sheets, the fragrance of my get-well flowers all became as unbearably foul as my eyes said they should be. Eventually, when even the doctors' voices became unrecognizable as human, I decided to kill myself. I didn't believe for a second that I could live in this new world. At least, not until I met Saya. One night, while thinking of a painless way to die, I found myself succumbing to sleep. Drifting between the nightmares in my dreams and the nightmare of reality, I didn't notice her enter my room. Next thing I knew, there was a face staring down at me from next to my bed. The face was not covered in pus or slime or earthworm-like fetor. It had smooth white cheeks, round eyes, a lovely little nose, all things I had never expected to see again. The face was that of a girl, undeniably human and positively glowing with beauty. I sighed in admiration, savoring the first peace and joy since regaining my sight. She had not expected such a reaction, apparently. "Aren't you afraid of me?" she asked, looking at the clock. I saw that it was exactly 3 in the morning. No time for a young girl to be alone in the hospital. Perhaps she expected me to mistake her for a ghost. but I would not have cared if she had been a ghost. Either way, she was a godsend. Who are you? What are you doing here? I'm Saya. I'm looking for my dad. Papa! I assumed that she was the daughter of a late shift doctor or another patient. It was unusual but not unthinkable for such a girl to be wandering around the hospital. It's no fun if you're not scared. Wait, I cried, desperate to keep her from leaving. It was only after she turned around that I realized that I hadn't thought of what to say next. Well? Nani? Beautiful eyes drew me in, healing my soul to its core. With the white haze clouding my mind, I struggled to form a coherent sentence. I shouldn't do this to a girl, but you're the only one I can ask. No longer concerned with propriety, I let the words come out as they would. Will you let me hold your hand? So I looked confused at first, but then she smiled like she'd just found a new toy. The smile was brighter than my memories of the sun. How strange, she said, holding out her slender white hand. No one's asked me anything like that before. Ever so carefully, as though catching snowflakes, I placed my palm against hers. I could feel her human warmth and the softness of her delicate fingers. She was there, just beyond the palm of my hand. Thinking back on the joyful tears I shed then, I know that this is the moment I was saved from my fate. It was the first time in weeks that I've touched someone and felt them as human. I can't touch anyone else. I was in an accident, and as a side effect of the surgery, I can't see people as human anymore. How mysterious. Yeah, interesting, she said, winding her fingers gently around mine. Can I come back tomorrow night? Yes, of course. But are you sure it's okay? You know. Don't worry, she replied. The night belongs to me. And so our rendezvous began. Saya came into my room every night at 3 AM, skillfully taking advantage of the duty nurse's shift change. I was astonished to learn that she was living inside the hospital. It's so big that I never run out of places to hide, she said, answering my surprise with a nonchalant smile. She'd been living in the suburbs with her father, she told me, until one day he suddenly stopped coming home. By the way, the volume's not too loud, right? Like, you guys can still hear me talk even when the voices are talking. I guess you would have complained already if that wasn't the case, but just making sure, you know. After she had tired of waiting, Saya had decided one night to sneak into the hospital where he'd worked, and there she'd lived for over 2 months, searching for his whereabouts all the while. Don't you have to go to school? No. Don't tell me everything I need to know. I'm really smart. She was a strange girl. On the one hand, she looked and acted like a child. On the other, she was remarkably self-reliant and at times exhibited a sharp intelligence and deep knowledge that many may have found unsettling. Volume is fine? Alright, Pog. I didn't care. Saya was the only other human in a world gone mad. Her existence meant far more to me than the standards of society. Aren't you worried you might get caught? Nope. I don't have to worry about food here. It's a lot more fun than staying in Dad's house by myself. I looked through the patient list and found the ones who have mental problems, Saya continued, grinning mischievously. Sometimes I sneak into their rooms late at night and scare them. Even if they raise a fuss, no one believes what mental patients say. Damn, that's kind of fucked up. That's actually really fucked up. Food. They just brush it off as a bad dream. Confession reminds me that the hospital was famous for its ghost stories. Who could have imagined that there was actually a real girl impishly roaming these hallways? So that's why you came into my room the first time? Yeah, sorry. Gomenne? Are you mad? Although pranks were hardly praiseworthy, I couldn't bring myself to scold her for the very thing that had brought us together. You shouldn't do it anymore. Will you come talk to me instead? Yeah, that's more fun for me too. Oh my god. With extreme care, I was able to conceal my sensory disorder. It was glaringly obvious that the doctors had no way to cure me, and the fact that I had undergone a still experimental procedure made me even more cautious. As a medical student, it was easy for me to imagine how the doctors would react if they discovered that I was exhibiting such unusual side effects. I was not about to become a guinea pig, a mere specimen to be examined with clinical detachment. And so I hid my discomfort and living behind a mask of normalcy, convincing the doctors that any signs of stress were merely a result of hospitalization. Saya was my support. Looking forward to her nightly visits gave me the strength to endure my daily torture. Hope can make an enormous difference in a patient's progress. With the aid of my secret nurse, I recovered at a pace that left the doctors stunned. On the last night before my release, I summoned my courage and asked her, "Are you going to stay here forever?" Yeah. I couldn't learn anything about my dad, but it's not like I have anywhere else to go. I guess I'll stay as long as I can hide. In other words, there was nothing keeping her there. Why not stay with me? I asked timidly. The question took all the courage I had. Oh, hey. My family's gone, so I have plenty of room. You won't need to hide, and it's not a bad place to live. You want me to live with you? Pog, waifu. I was too afraid to ask her what she thought of that, so I hastily offered a deal. In exchange, I hope you look for your father. I'll find him no matter what. I think that's gonna be hard, so I said, looking a little embarrassed. Dad probably did something bad and had to leave the hospital. Can't get the police involved. You'll have to be as discreet as possible. I'll do whatever it takes. Unable to control myself, I finally spoke the truth. I can't be apart from you. First, she looked bewildered, but after a few moments of silence, she said, "Give me a little time." That night, she left my room earlier than usual. On the day of my release, I managed to smile as I accepted the hideous, foul-smelling celebratory banquet. The flesh beasts, calling themselves Koji, Omi, and Yo, came to pick me up. They had come to see me many times during my stay. It never got easier to see my friends changed so horribly. My sudden tears of despair drew suspicion, but I managed to explain them away as tears of joy. While we walked to Koji's car, I looked desperately for Saya amid the grotesque scenery. Even as we drove away, I kept watching the hospital fade into the distance, praying for a last glimmer of hope. But Saya never appeared. After Koji and the others dropped me off, I paused a while to regard my surroundings. I'd lived my entire life on this block, in this house. There was no other place that I could call home. But nothing was as I remembered. As I walked up the path to the front door and took in the yard where I had spent my childhood, I could feel those memories being defiled by the twisted, festering shapes around me. Inside the house, I found nothing familiar. Nothing to offer me comfort and warmth. What I had once called home was now a whole other world. I have no home, I whispered with a smile of self-pity. There was one last stop to make, one last nail to hammer into my coffin. Whoa. I stepped into the room that had cradled me from childhood. The walls were papered with human entrails, the bed a tangled mess of worm flesh. But none of that mattered. There, curled up on the bed like an abandoned cat, was Saya. As I stood there in shock, she looked up at me and in a tiny, weak voice said, "Can I really stay?" I responded by sweeping her into my arms, embracing her tightly so that she would not escape. Saya did not resist. Whoa. She arrives at the Sakisaka house. Omi first takes a deep breath to calm herself. Anger does not vanish entirely, of course, but at least now she can hear herself think. While waiting for a response from the intercom, she looks over the patch of yard that she can see from outside the gate. Even Omi isn't normally one to complain about other people's housekeeping, but this is going too far. The grass is growing wild, and there are a pile of dead leaves scattered everywhere. It doesn't just look untended, it looks like an uninhabited ruin. Some people just do that. I knew someone who had a house where, like, honestly, like, the backyard and shit, it looked like it was fucking uninhabited. Like, it was like an abandoned building. Like, there was even a pool that had, like, grown moss and reeds and shit on it, and there was just, like, tall grass, like, even covering, like, the pool and shit, and all around it. It was, like, waist high and dead, and there was just, like, tall grass, like, everywhere else. And there was, like, you know, people living in the house, but just outside it was just a mess. It's still light out, but every window has its storm shutters tightly sealed. Only guess that they've been closed since morning. What kind of life is Fuminori leading? Even if he's living alone, he can't neglect his housework forever. And is it just her imagination, or does something stink like rotten meat? It couldn't be coming from the yard, could it? There's still no response, so she presses the buzzer a second time, and a third, and a fourth. Finally, after this has gone on for over 10 minutes, Omi loses her patience and opens the door, the cover of the intercom. As she expected, the power has been disconnected. Perhaps Fuminori has a good reason for shutting off the world, but Omi can only see it as a lack of respect for others. Her anger rekindled, she pushes the gate open and stomps through the yard to the front door. Given the state of his intercom, she doubts that Fuminori will respond to a knock, so Omi decides to just open the door and go in shouting. And if the door is locked, she'll just have to... Surprisingly, the doorknob turns easily in her hand, and the enraged Omi finds herself throwing the door open wider than she intended. Her nostrils are instantly assaulted by a choking stench. What is this smell? Omi stands petrified on the threshold. The cowbell hanging on the inside of the door chimes loudly. A moment later, Omi can't believe her ears. The voice she just heard could not have been human, yet its its intonations were too complex for any animal she can imagine. Is someone there? She calls out to the end of the hallway from which the voice came. There is no response. Instead, she hears the sound of something soft and wet flopping its way deeper in the house. God damn it. I fucking guessed it before. Frickin' I mean, I kind of figured. It's like, yeah, Saya's basically goddamn monster. So Fuminori sees her as normal. Nice. Yep. Finding it difficult to place a meaningful image to the voice you just heard, Omi stares blankly at the empty vestibule. Empty vestibule? I don't know what that is either. There's nothing there, not even Fuminori's shoes. Oh, that's I see. Which can only mean that he's still outside somewhere, wearing them. The house should be empty. But then what was that voice just now? Her anger has vanished as if it were never there. Nevertheless, Omi sets foot into the hallway, leaving the door open so that the cowbell won't ring. The floor creaks, setting her nerves on edge. Omi isn't sure why she's acting like a burglar, but something tells her to make as little noise as possible. The potency of the stink inside the house makes the whiff she caught outside pale in comparison. It's sickening, like rotten fish guts. Has food been left to spoil in the kitchen? She hears a bubbling sound up ahead. Stepping gingerly on the creaking floorboards, Omi makes her way to the end of the hallway. She finds rooms to both sides of her, one lit, the other dark, and chooses to look into the lit room. It's the kitchen, lit by what must be the only window in the house not covered by a storm shutter. The sound she heard was the pot boiling on the stove, and on the chopping board next to it lie a butcher's knife and some half-diced carrots. Okay, so carrots are involved. Maybe she's not serving him guts, but she is made of them. Got it. A perfectly normal household scene with the light of the setting sun making everything the color of decomposing fruit. What a weird way to describe orange. Something is wrong. Who is cooking here, and where did they go? Is anyone here? Omi calls, regretting it immediately as she realizes that her voice is shaking. As her words echo vainly through the silent house, she begins to feel foolish and defenseless. Suddenly, she feels something cold seeping through her pantyhose. She timidly reaches down to touch her feet. Her fingertips come away covered in a vicious olive-green slime. Like the filthy water from a tank long clogged with algae and dead fish, the whole floor is covered with it. It must be the source of the stench. Omi now wishes that she had worn her shoes inside. Manners be damned. When she looks back ruefully the way she came, she realizes that her current position is not visible from the entrance. This kitchen must be where that strange voice came from. And the next room is probably the den. As she expected from the closed storm shutters, it's pitch black inside. Omi wants nothing more than to flee this house, but that would mean turning her back to the darkness, and that she simply cannot bring herself to do. Oh man. Moved by some irrational compulsion, Omi sets foot into the den. It is too dark to see anything, and the stink is far worse than before. She slides her hand along the wall, feeling for the light switch. Finding it much sooner than she expected, she flicks it on like it's her last hope. Oh man, the colors. The colors. So many colors. It's a rave in here. The purple of entrails, the brown of rotten meat, the crimson of flesh, blood, and the yellow of fat. These colors and more that cannot be described to cover every inch of the room in maddening array. The colors say all that needs to be said about the painter's hatred, malice, and insanity. Omi's legs give out from the shock, sending her to the floor. Slime immediately soaks through her jeans, its cold tendrils creeping up her legs, crotch, and her neck. Her hand flies into her neck, where it is greeted by another drop of chilly slime. Above her, something is dropping down on her head. Making perhaps the worst decision of her life, Omi looks up. The predator, clinging to the ceiling, poised to leap upon its prey. She sees it in every detail. Her mouth and nose are sealed before she can scream, and her belly is torn open as something enters to feast on her innards. But by the time she feels any of this, Omi has already gone mad. Damn. I bit the bullet and tried to take the train, but the rush hour crowds were so bad that I had to get off halfway and walk. I'm running pretty late. Is Saya worried? Hope she's not mad. Oh god, what's he gonna walk in on? Can we get Neff for Omi? Yeah, seriously. She just got destroyed. Absolutely obliterated. When I enter the yard, I realize that the front door has been left wide open. Light from the living room is seeping out into the hallways, and I hear what sounds like someone smacking their lips. There's also a tantalizing fragrance in the air. Is it Saya? I consider calling out to her, but decided to enter in silence instead. A tantalizing fragrance. Oh god, it's Omi dead, isn't it? Oh god. Something smells strange, though not unpleasant. The aroma is quite soothing, in fact. It reminds me of Saya's hair. Yeah, I bet it does. At first I'm surprised by what I see in the living room. The floor is covered with what looks to be some kind of grass, probably the source of the herb-like smell. But there are fruit or vegetable-like bowls of varying size scattered everywhere. Saya. Saya turns around, her eyes wide with surprise. She then looks away sheepishly, like a child caught at some prank. What are you eating? This is, well, she stammers, so flustered that I suddenly feel bad for sneaking up on her. Remembering that she's never eaten in front of me before, I realize that she must be quite embarrassed. Can I have one? Oh no! I scoop over the closest fruit thing and pop it into my mouth, and ignoring Saya's attempt to wave me off. It has a strange texture, soft and palpable. Palpable? Is that it? Like a peach or a pear. When I bite into it with my back teeth, a succulent juice fills my mouth. Combined with a sharp, strong fragrance, it's unlike anything I've ever tasted. Delicious oh man. This is fucked up. He's eating his friends. No. How did you make this? What did you use? It wasn't hard. I just took it apart and melted it a little to make it easier to eat. It's practically raw. God damn. Oh. I pick up a different lump. This one consisting of fruity flesh around a hard core. Tearing a chunk off in my mouth, I find that it has a similar taste to the last one. Hey, are you okay? That's yeah, even I can eat this. In fact, it's good. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Soda no! At first, Saya looks dumbstruck, but then she bursts out laughing. So this is what you like. Now I feel stupid for going all that trouble. Is this what you always eat, Saya? Yeah, though it's been a while since I've had one so big. I usually catch them in the nearby park. Fruity flesh. There's an impressive nature preserve not too far from here. I've never heard about fruits like these growing there, but, well, of course. They only look like fruits to me. They're really something else. Sorry, I already ate the best parts. That's okay. This was next time, and now we can eat together. Oh no, 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 no. Fuminori, no. Yeah. Say seems really happy. I'm happy too, of course. Eating with someone is much more fun than eating alone, and it makes the food taste better too. Oh god. You just ate your friend, dude. There's still plenty left. It'll keep chilled for 2 or 3 days, though it won't taste as good. I mean, but just start putting it away. Oh god, he's gonna. Oh no, he's gonna have a body in his fridge. You just know Koji's gonna find it or some shit. God damn. Selling the small fruits in Tupperware and the large ones in pots and bowls, Sai and I store the remaining food in the refrigerator. Thinking of tomorrow's dinner fills me with anticipation. God damn. I feel that little by little I'm starting to regain the joy of living. Yeah, but it's in the most fucked way. Saya will guide me. With her, I can live on. Damn. This guy. This freaking guy. Quit the game. No, is there a way to save? Is there like a menu? No. What is with this? There was no chapters and shit before. What is this? Chapter 4, The Monster in the Hospital. A medical student relates his shocking experience. Will you believe him or not? Strange things started happening at the hospital around the end of last spring. It began with patients waking up in the middle of the night screaming. They all spoke of terrifying nightmares, and many of them had to be sedated. Some patients even transferred to other hospitals because of it. The weird thing was, they'd all had the exact same dream. A dream about some horribly disgusting monster staring down at them from their bedside. But the really strange stuff started happening after that. There used to be a lot of stray cats around campus looking for scraps from the students. One day the cats suddenly disappeared, and it wasn't that they'd stopped coming, it was more like they'd vanished from the area entirely. And then people stopped walking their dogs around. According to the rumors, the dogs were refusing to go anywhere near the school. Eventually, things started going missing in the hospital. Organs, to be precise. Oh, I get it. There's more than enough food. Yeah, right. I see. Transplant organs kept disappearing from storage. People came close to losing their jobs over it. And it wasn't just 2 or 3 times that it happened. They tried to keep it from the students, but we heard it was a lot worse than that. Yee. Yeah, it's all coming together. People started saying that there was something living in the hospital. The janitors would find stray messes that could only have been made in the middle of the night. Traces of something that had crawled down the hallway, or weird stains caused by something dripping through the ceiling. The late shift nurses talked about hearing strange noises on the same nights that patients were screaming. There's one last story, one you can never mention inside the hospital. One day, the obstetrics department... Obstetrics? Never heard of that. What department is that? Oh, it's pregnancy. I see. The department went crazy. They said that a newborn had disappeared in the night. If that were true, the police would have come and it would have been all over the news, but they say the big shots managed to make it all go away. It's just a rumor, of course. These strange incidents suddenly stopped towards the end of summer. Now there are almost no patients complaining of nightmares, and the cats have started coming back to campus. But still, what happened in the hospital that summer, even now, just thinking about it gives me the creeps. Strange. Nothing. Damn it all. This is the third day in a row that they haven't been able to get in touch with Omi. Oh right, she's fucking dead. There's no sign that she returned to her apartment, and even her family doesn't know anything. Her parents have already filed a missing persons report. Yeah, 3 days, I think that's right. I think you need 3 days to do it. Well, you know her. She'll probably just pop up somewhere like nothing happened. I hope so, Yo replies with a gloomy expression. She's worried about Omi, of course, but the incident with Fuminori 3 days ago must still be weighed on her as well. Yo hasn't seen Fuminori since then, and Fuminori hasn't made any effort to approach her or Koji. 4 people used to meet in this cafeteria between classes, but now there are only 2. Hey Koji, let's keep thinking. Isn't there somewhere Omi might have gone? No, Koji answers evasively. I already checked everywhere. It's a lie, of course. Koji knows where Omi planned to go that evening, but he doesn't want to bring Fuminori up in front of Yo. The awkward silence is mercifully broken by the bells signaling the start of the next period. Well, I've got to go. God damn, man. This is so fucked up. Unless Koji is mistaken, Yo is supposed to have class next period too, but she just sits there staring off into space. Unable to come up with anything to say, he leaves the cafeteria reluctantly. Both Omi's disappearance and Yo's depression worry Koji, and both problems lead back to the exact same place. What the hell is Fuminori doing? When Omi went missing, the first thing he did was question Fuminori. After all, the last time he'd seen her was just before she stormed off to give Fuminori a piece of her mind. Fuminori responded with unequivocal denial and acted like he hadn't the slightest idea why Omi would have gone to see him. Perhaps that was only natural, as he was unaware that Omi and Koji had witnessed him reduce Yo to tears. Did Omi even make it to Fuminori's house? She had been riding a wave of emotion when she'd left, and might have calmed down and changed her mind halfway there. Can we get a preemptive F for Koji? Dude, I think we're gonna need, if we're doing preemptive Fs, I think we need a preemptive F for everyone. I would not be surprised if Saya and Fuminori end up eating both of these people left. Perhaps she ran into some trouble on the way. Koji concluded, or more accurately, convinced himself that one of these possibilities was the truth, subconsciously denying the one remaining possibility that Fuminori was lying, that he had met Omi and was involved with her disappearance. I mean, not really. Look, man, I don't know, man. When questioned by the police, Koji told the truth about Omi's destination only up to the train station, maintaining that he had no idea where she'd planned to go after that. It's always the boyfriend. He wanted to cooperate with the search, of course, but Omi couldn't have made it to Fuminori's house. Fuminori said so himself, didn't he? In that case, he told the police everything they needed to know. Well, technically he isn't yeah, he's not really lying. He technically had nothing to do with it. He just ate her, you know? That's the part that makes it weird, you know? Then he ate her. Not wanting to get the still fragile Fuminori involved, he forced himself to accept this flimsy logic. But the conflict had built up inside of him without his notice, leaving unanswered suspicion to fester in his mind. Koji is deep in thought, paying no attention to his surroundings, but perhaps this is what allows him to catch sight of his friend's back through the crowd of milling students. What? Is that... Hello? Oh, that was weird. I had to click. Normally I don't have to click. The text just appears. Fuminori. At first, Koji assumes that he's headed to the lecture hall, but it soon appears that he's instead going home. Strange. Medical students have required courses in the afternoon. Though he is initially surprised, Koji's hesitation lasts for only a second. He follows his friend, taking care to stay far enough behind that he won't be noticed. Fuminori wasn't going home, as became obvious when he boarded a train heading in the opposite direction. Koji's next guess was that he was going to see his doctor at the T University Hospital, but Fuminori rode straight through the closest station. Where is he going? At first, Koji felt ashamed for tailing his friend like this, but his consciousness fell silent as Fuminori's actions grew more mysterious. The stranger it gets, the closer Koji feels to discovering the truth behind Fuminori's sudden transformation. Any knowledge would be welcome, no matter how slight. Even Koji is beginning to think there must be more behind Fuminori's change than the accident alone. He wants a more satisfying answer, one that will help him decide whether Fuminori can still be trusted. Mysterious. Fuminori gets off at a small station in a nondescript suburb of Tokyo. Koji follows, not to lose sight of him, amid the other disembarking passengers. The area is quite desolate, with only a small bookstore, a convenience store, and a market in front of the train station. It is easy for Koji to keep Fuminori in view. This neighborhood was carved out of the Fuji foothills, and here and there remain steep inclines and wooded areas that escaped assimilation. Koji is amazed that such a quiet place exists less than an hour out of central Tokyo. Fuminori seems to know these streets. He moves quickly and purposefully through the suburban community, his eyes fixed straight ahead. Before long, Fuminori reaches a house. Without ringing the bell or even knocking, he opens the door and vanishes inside, leaving Koji to wonder how Fuminori can treat the house as his own. After waiting to see if Fuminori comes back out, Koji approaches the gate and checks the nameplate. Ogai, it reads. Koji had never heard of anyone by that name among Fuminori's acquaintances. Next, his attention is drawn to the thick wad of leaflets sticking out of the mail slot. This, coupled with the general dilapidated feel of the place, suggests that it has been abandoned for some time. A small playground about 2 blocks away provides an adequate vantage point from which to watch the front of Ogai's house. Fortunately, it does not appear to be the sort of house that has a rear exit. Koji settles down on a bench to begin his stakeout. Should have brought more smokes. Should have brought some snacks as well, man. 1 hour passes and then another, but there remains no sign of movement around the Ogai residence. Soon, twilight settles upon the neighborhood. After Koji's 1 pack of cigarette runs out, the stakeout becomes a battle against mounting impatience. He kills time by redialing Omi on his cell and sending her short text messages, but his efforts are futile, as he knew they would be. When the sky begins to turn deep blue and the street lights come on, hey, blue street lights! Because it's Japan! The blue street lights will calm you down, and maybe you won't want to kill yourself because your life and job sucks. Fuminori finally emerges from the house and heads back towards the station with the same hurried stride. I didn't know they were doing them that long ago, though. 2003 is apparently when they Really? I thought they only did the blue streetlights, like, recently. And by recently, I mean, like, 5 years ago or something. Maybe more. Maybe, like, 7 years ago? I didn't think it was, like, all the way back in 2003 that they had them already. But yeah, that's a thing in, like, Tokyo and parts of Japan. Blue streetlights, because it supposedly makes you more calm. Having blue lights. After some brief consideration, Koji decides that right now, investigating the house is more important than tailing Fuminori. He rings the doorbell just to make sure. After receiving the expected silence in response, he checks to make sure no one is watching and turns the doorknob. The door is not locked. The moment he enters the house, stale air, thick with mold and dust, fills Koji's nostrils. It is the unmistakable smell of a house that has long lain untouched. There is also a faint hint of something else in the air, something reminiscent of a damp sewer and fetid cisterns? Cisterns? Define. A tank for storing water, especially one supplying taps or as part of a flushing toilet. Cistern. What is this visual novel use so many words I've never heard of before? Flipping the light switch does nothing. The power must be cut off. Koji uses his cigarette lighter to illuminate the immediate area. In the thick dust covering the floor, he sees several brand new trails of footprints that could only have been made by shoes. Fuminori's. Koji decides to follow suit and dispense with courtesy. He enters with his shoes on. The lighter flickering flame pushes back the deathly silence and gloom of the house. Koji is surprised to see evidence of life remaining, everything from furniture to tableware and appliances. Nothing seems to be missing. The thickness of the dust suggests that the house has been empty for several months, which means that the owner must have left with little more than the clothes on his back. Could he have gone on a long vacation? The calendar in the den is still turned to April, empty in silence, yet still exhibiting signs of life that was once lived there. The house reminds Koji of a passenger ship entombed at the bottom of the sea. In the graveyard-like quiet, a sinister thought suddenly enters his mind. No one is living here, but that does not have to mean that the owner left. Maybe he was murdered, and his rotting corpse is right under Koji's feet. He finds himself wanting a stronger light. A flashlight in his hand would make him feel much better. Koji follows Fuminori's footsteps to the second floor, where he begins to catch the scent of paper in the stale air. It is the smell of old books, instantly recognizable to anyone who has worked in an antique bookstore or library. Yeah, I know that smell. It was nice knowing you, Koji. Yeah, this might be it for Koji, honestly. I don't know though. I mean, he might be fine. I don't think Saya's here. But he might find out too much. He might know too much. The first room on the second floor turns out to be a study. It's towering shelved, packed with such a vast number of books that Koji fears for the stability of the floor. As a medical student himself, he is able to discern at a glance that the study belongs to a medical professional, and a high-level one at that. Judging by the content of the books, a smorgasbord of technical volumes, far beyond a simple student's understanding, the owner's interests lie more with the medical research than with clinical practice. Fuminori must have spent most of his time here. The scattered dust suggests that he was searching for something, and the contents of the desk drawer are in obvious disarray. A small pile of books stacked on the side table catches his eyes. Being next to the desk, they must have been the most frequently read. Their nature could shed some light on the character of the person who worked here. Koji frowns as he examines the free books. These aren't scientific texts like the rest, but old leather-bound Western tomes, like the sort you would find in a rare bookstore. The titles are meaningless to him. Oh man, I can't... yeah, I can't read. Appears to concern semiotics, but that one is some kind of treatise on divination. And then there's that one, which looks like some sort of picture book. When he pages through it, he finds the text utterly incomprehensible. Maybe it's some kind of cipher. But if they are, they clearly have nothing to do with medicine, refuting Koji's earlier guess that this Ogai was a doctor. Looking down, Koji suddenly notices the glint of something black and metallic underneath the chair. A pocket-sized flashlight, quite out of place among all these dusty books. Fuminori must have brought it in. With relief, Koji exchanges his lighter for the flashlight. Its tiny body emits a powerful white beam that casts away the darkness. His courage restored, he decides to explore the rest of the house. Koji notices something strange, something that was not visible in the lighter's weak flame. The slime. Dark, oily stains are everywhere. The stains are especially thick around the doorknob and stair banisters, like someone grasping them with hands wrapped in greasy cloth? What? Looking closer, he sees places where slime was splashed low on the walls, almost as if a wet mop was run violently across the floor. Could a guy have made these marks? If so, how? Koji begins to feel sick as he imagines a man shambling through the house with slime dripping from his body. Finding the bedroom next to the study, Koji checks the closet on a hunch. He discovers 2 empty suitcases, not what one would leave behind when going on a long vacation. Sudden chill runs through him. Whoever was living here is still somewhere inside the house. Suppressing the urge to flee, Koji goes back downstairs to check the first floor. If he finds a corpse, he'll have to call the police right away. He might get away with trespassing if he reports it first, but if they find the body later, it'd be awfully hard to explain his fingerprints all over the house. Oh yeah, that'd be a shit show. The flashlight reveals the den to be covered in even more slime than the rest of the house. The sofa looks as though it was drenched from the bottom of a swamp. Dredged, I think that was. In the kitchen, Koji takes one look at the sink and decides not to get any closer. He doesn't want any more fuel for his imagination. He reaches the door to the bathroom. A common scene from the TV dramas flashes through his head. A body with slit wrists floating in the bathtub full of water. And wasn't there a movie where a hitman disposed of his victims in a bathtub filled with lye? Koji braces himself for the worst and opens the door slowly, then shines his light into the ceramic bathtub that appears from the darkness like a white ghost. Oh god. Okay, we're fine for now. Bones. Oh, bones. A mountain of bones, black with dry flesh and blood. Koji puts one hand against the wall to steady himself as his legs threaten to buckle. Something is wrong. He realizes as he tries desperately to get his thoughts in order. The bones are too small and there are too many of them. They aren't human. After taking several deep breaths to calm himself, Koji enters the bathroom to examines the tub. The bones are piled atop each other like fallen leaves. They appear to be from small animals, perhaps cats or dogs. It's the cats! It's the cats from the campus! Even so, the quantity is mind-boggling. How many bodies would it take to produce this many bones? The bones have all been separated from one another, so it doesn't look like bodies were just thrown into the tub and left to rot. Each bone is covered with deep grooves, marks left by teeth biting through flesh. Koji's sanity won't let him consider the possibility that a human could have done this. The owner of this house must have kept some sort of carnivorous animal as a pet, giving it the bones of a small animal to eat and disposing of the remains in the bathtub. But why not dispose of the leftovers properly? It could have been thrown out with the garbage, or was there something keeping him from leaving the house? The relief Koji felt when he realized that the bones weren't human is once again under attack. In the first place, what the hell was Fuminori doing here? Oh shit! What's wrong, Koji? Koji was around, his light revealing Fuminori's expressionless face. You're trespassing. So are you, Koji replies, barely managing to speak over the pounding of his heart. Fuminori pushes past Koji and looks into the bathtub. He doesn't even flinch at the sight of the bones. A friend of mine lives here. I'm just running an errand. What? Who is this person? Where did you meet them? Koji doesn't want to believe that the old, friendly Fuminori could have had contact with the denizens of this house. I'll introduce you one of these days, he says, turning to leave without even a glance at Koji. I owe it my life. Hey, Fuminori! Koji runs after Fuminori. His heart is finally beating normally again. Wait, is this friend of yours the reason you've been acting so strange? Sweat! Yeah, that's a sweat moment. Standing in the entrance, Fuminori glances coldly at Koji over his shoulder. The utter lack of emotion in his eyes gives Koji pause. You followed me, didn't you? Koji swallows. What can he say? You're starting to bother me, Koji. Don't do it again. Fine. Fuminori walks away without another word, leaving Koji alone in the entrance. Up until this very moment, concern for his friend was still at the forefront of his mind. Now, however, that concern is swiftly giving way to a growling sense of dread. Does the Fuminori he know no longer exist? Was the person who just stared Koji down an impostor wearing Fuminori's skin? Koji had begun to believe that it might be so. No, he's just basically gone off his rocket. What a nuisance. Why does he insist on interfering? If he only spoke with me to exchange pleasantries, even I could bear it. But now he's sticking his nose into my business just to satisfy his curiosity. Koji is a perfect example of someone who thinks that it's always good to take an interest in other people's affairs. He probably thinks that he's doing me a favor by prying into my life. Because Fuminori, I guess, doesn't know that Omi's missing. He couldn't be more wrong. If he keeps this up, I might have to find some way to deal with him. Like Saya said, I have to keep my search for Dr. Aigai a secret. Koji could ruin everything. I didn't have time to fully investigate the Ogai residence today. At this rate, it'll probably take several days just to go through the study. So I didn't believe that I'd find anything to help with the search, but I think there's still a lot to explore. Who knows what I'll discover. The problem is Koji. He knows about the house now. Will he make things difficult? Excuse me. A hair-raising voice calls as I'm about to pass through my gate. Suppressing a shudder, I put on a fake smile and turn to face the writhing mass of rotten flesh that is staring at me with bulging eyes. Good evening. Are you getting home? Just getting home. Yes, I am. Ah, of course. This is my next-door neighbor, Suzumi. A middle-aged painter, I think. He spends the day at home while his wife works. Suzumi? That could be a male name? I thought that was only a female name. Haven't had much contact with him since the accident. Why is he suddenly talking to me now? Have you gotten used to living alone? Yes, thank you for your help. It must be very difficult, but you're still young. You have to try to move on with your life. Yeah. What is this? Did he stop me just to deliver a lecture? Such a big house, it must be hard to take care of everything by yourself. I guess they noticed the lawn. Yeah, I suppose it is rather difficult. Why not hire a caretaker? Didn't your father have one? I'm still a student. I can't really afford the expense. I see. The flesh beast undulates foully, as though it still has something to say. The sight of it is driving me close to the edge. Even so, don't you think you should at least tend to your yard? I'd be happy to help. No thank you. I'll manage on my own. Now I get it. He's worried that the unsightliness of my house might diminish the image of his own. Damn snub. He's lowering the land value! I flash a token smile, then retreat behind the safety of my gate. I can feel Suzumi's eyes boring into my back all the way to the front door. I want everyone to stay out of my life. I just want to live together with Saya, alone where no one will ever bother us. He just wants that Saya pussy. Suzumi Yosuke sighs in an annoyance as he watches the neighborhood boy retreat into his house. What's with his attitude? Even while talking, he kept his eyes averted as if to avoid looking at something repulsive. Has he always been such an unpleasant young man? No, of course not. When his parents were still alive, he'd been a normal youth. A little shy, but sensitive and caring. Must be the stress of his sad situation. If it continues to build, he might start to develop serious mental problems. He's already there, man. He's gone. Or is it too late already? Yosuke wonders as he gazes warily at the Saki yard. Yeah, he's gone. He's gone already. Even during dinner, Yosuke can't shake the neighboring house from his mind. What's wrong, honey? You look like something's bothering you. I wonder if we should give a preemptive F to these three. These three are also gonna end up all dead. Yeah, I saw the young man from next door today. Fuminori Ni-chan. I just had to say something about his yard. I know. I should at least do something about that smell. The stink coming from the Sakisaka house grows worse each day, and the Suzumiya family is at its wit's end. Could there be a dead cat in his bushes? He must notice the smell coming from his own yard. Maybe he's leaving his garbage out there. He wouldn't. No, I wouldn't put it past him. Who knows what he's doing in there all day with the storm shutters closed? What kind of life is he leading? Did he go crazy? Now, Hiromi, I mustn't say things like that. Honestly, with the way things are going, I'm starting to wonder if he's gone paranoid or something. Will he be alright? Daijobu. Unless he gets help soon, who knows? Nah, it's too late. Too late for help. The seconds crawl by, each tick of the clock compounding my agony. When I returned from the Ogai residence, I was greeted by a silent, empty home. Saya had vanished without leaving any clue as to her whereabouts. It isn't rare for her to go for walks at night. I've often gone with her. However, such outings always take place in the middle of the night when no one is around and never last for more than 2 hours. Right now it's 5 in the morning. Soon the sky will begin to show the first light of dawn. Hey, I do that. I go for walks at night. I go for night walks. I'm a creepy flesh monster that needs to avoid people. Even if she left right before I returned, she's still been gone for almost half a day. I can't sleep. I can only wait in anguish. I tried to distract myself by painting more rooms, but I couldn't concentrate on the work. If I'd known this would happen, I would have left the Ogai house sooner. I wish I hadn't wasted time on Koji. If Sai doesn't return, the thought makes me want to tear out my hair. After its long absence, the terror of true loneliness is too much to bear. At last, the cowbell chimes, and Sai's long-awaited "Tadaima" rings out from the bottom of the stairs. As I jump out of my bed in relief, all of the stress that has built up through the night is released in a wave that threatens to sweep me off my feet. Ah, so tired. Saya shies as he climbs the stairs. I knew the trip would be hard. Saya, where have you... The cushion trails off as I notice the thick bundles of paper that she's carrying under her arms. What are those? They're medical charts and surgery records. I went back to the hospital today. Saya drops her bundles on the floor, sending paper flying everywhere, then pulls her favorite cushion over and collapses into it, stretching luxuriously. You walked all the way back from the hospital in the middle of the night? Sorry, she says, skillfully gathering the scattered papers together. I meant to come back sooner, but there were so many files to go through. So, I decided to just bring everything. It was so heavy. Wakata? Maybe it's just the exhaustion, but I'm not understanding a word Sai is saying. What are you planning to do with all this? What do you mean? I'm gonna study it, of course, she replies, holding one MRI photograph after another up to the light. I'll have plenty of time to go over it here. At first, I think she's just playing around, but the occasional mutters of, better check this one. Oh, I see. Well, that was silly of them. And the likes as she separates photos into a growing pile beside her makes me think this might not be a joke after all. Do you understand this stuff? I learned a lot from Dad. She flashes me a grin, then returns to the papers. So that's how it is. No wonder it can't be fixed. It can't? No, not by a human doctor. Can't tell if she's being serious. Even for me, it'll probably be tough, she says offhandedly, even as her hands continue to shuffle paper. I'll have to experiment first. Watching more closely, I realize that her eyes are scanning each page rapidly. So rapidly, in fact, that I was unable to notice it at first. Could Saya actually be reading my charts? Hey, Saya. Yeah? She answers coolly, looking up from the charts. I'm tired. Let's go to bed. Sure, Saya replies with a grin. If that's what you want. Saya tosses aside the papers she was sorting, then leaps on me and begins to tear off my clothes. Oh, I'm just gonna put this up preemptively. Hey, come on, just once before bed, okay? Contrary to her appearance, Saya's appetite for sex would put any adult to shame. You could even say it's a little unnatural. She's not just passionate, she also has unlimited stamina, making me wonder where her slender body gets all the energy. Never satisfied with letting me feast on her to my heart's content, she always uses me to pleasure herself until I'm forced to tap out. Safety first. It's still nothing's come up yet. It's still just Saya in the room. Hey Saya, don't you think it's unhealthy to be doing this every day? Huh? Are you sick? Maybe it's safe. I don't want to put it up in case it's not. No, not me. My body is all grown up. But you're... Don't worry. She laughs playfully as she pushes me onto the bed, the familiar sweet sensation of her weight and skin rendering me helpless. But I am worried. We haven't used any contraception. To my astonishment, Saya is completely uninterested in safe sex. She doesn't just ensure protection, she even insists that I ejaculate inside of her. Surely she must know the risks, which can only mean that she wants to get pregnant. I guess it's... Fuminori, she whispers, staring straight into my eyes. You don't want me to have your children? How can I respond to that? It's not that. Your body is too small. Pregnancy is a serious burden, you know? It's not really something you have to worry about. I'm gonna stay. Saya seems unsure how to reply, but not because she doesn't understand what I said. Rather, the bemused look on her face makes it seem as though I'm the one not getting it. Absorb the baby. But I know you're just thinking of me, she says suddenly, her smile glowing with innocence. So I'm happy. Okay, we're good for now. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. By the time I break the spell of her angelic smile, Saya has undone my belt and removed my pants. Come on, Saya. Relax, she says teasingly as she bears my crotch and wraps her slender white fingers around my penis and testicles. Tonight, I'll do it so you don't have to worry. Yep, there's a CJ. Alright, we're all good, we're safe. She's given a blowjob. The feelings of her, what? Willowy, unblemished fingers embracing me is enough to fill me with twisted ecstasy and draw out my male instinct. Seeing my response, Saya brings her face to my groin and lovingly wraps her lips around the head of my penis. God damn it. My hips jerk involuntarily at the unexpected, intense shock of her sucking hard on such a sensitive area. Did that hurt? She asks, looking timidly up at me as she soothingly strokes my shaft. No, I'm fine. Where did Saya learn how to pleasure a man so well? I can't believe the precision and skill of her ministrations. Her sinuous? I don't know what that is. Fingers like snakes coiled around my manhood. Their sensual undulations drawing desire forth from my loins. Whoa, there's another one that's really intense. As if all 10 of her fingers weren't enough to drown me in pleasure, next she adds her lips and tongues. Oh god, the noises. The mind-blowing pleasure from this new simulation instantly threatens to push me over the edge. Damp heat, different from that of her womb, presses down on me from all directions. Looking down, I see my lust filling her tiny mouth, stretching the graceful lines of her cheeks and jaw so far that I fear she might break. The sight makes me worry that she's pushing herself too hard, but her tongue continues to devour me like a kitten desperately sucking on her mother's teat. What? Stream is self-dead? What do you mean? As I watch, I begin to feel like I'm violating Saya's innocence. Unsullied face. The feelings of breaking a taboo further increases my perverted ecstasy. In every man lurks the dark desire to spoil that which is beautiful. Saya's bewitching body, able to drive me mad every night, is perfectly designed to draw out such savage lusts. Saya, I can't hold it anymore. I'll come any second now. But where? When the moment comes, what will I do with this thing in Saya's mouth? Hey, wait, I'm gonna... I try to pull out, but Saya doesn't let me. She grabs my thighs and doubles the intensity of her sucking, as if she's trying to pull me even deeper into her throat. Just eating ice cream noses. Yeah, guys, totally. I'm worried about it, but my body is at its limits. An irresistible wave of pleasure sweeps away my willpower. I unleash my pent-up seed deep into Saya's throat. What have I done? I feel panic rise within me. Regardless of the situation, I shouldn't have ejaculated into her mouth. What if she chokes on it? Saya, however, pays no heed to my distress. Still clinging to my wrist like a predator, unwilling to relinquish its prey, she starts swallowing effortlessly like someone dying of hunger. What is she swallowing? The answer is obvious. Every last drop of the passion that I just disgorged into her mouth. This is the first time I've ever had a girl do this to me. To be honest, I'm speechless with shock. I've always been prejudiced against fellatio, thinking it to be something that perverted, sadistic men force women to do. But Saya... God damn. There's 2 CGs of that. Hopefully something doesn't come up in just a few text boxes and throw me off. That was good. She looks up at me, answering my confusion by smirking, like she just pulled the greatest prank of her life. A small tongue darts out from her lips to lick away the last milky remnants around her mouth. That tongue was just licking my... The thought sends a worrying jolt of pleasure to my brain. See? You don't have to worry if I do it like this. Oh, well, what am I supposed to say to that? Oh god. Hey, was it bad? It didn't feel good? Hearing the sudden nervousness inside his voice, I hastily stammer. Of course it felt good. It felt so good that I thought I'd go crazy, but I can't say that, can I? But Saya, you didn't have to swallow it. What? But I want to. Suddenly distraught, Saya clings to me like a child who's just had her candy stolen. I want every last drop of it. I want it inside me. God damn. Haha, pranked. It inside you. Saya really does want to bear my child. I'm not averse to the idea. I still think it might be too early, of course. There isn't much point in worrying about my reputation now. Assuming that Saya and I will be left alone, I even welcome it. However, that only explains her appetite for normal sex. I still don't know why she wants to swallow, of all things. Well, I suppose that's what impure or taboo differs from person to person, and I can't simply apply normal values to Saya. You don't like it? She gazes up at me pleadingly. How can I resist? I do like it. As long as you're okay with it. So am I. Saya smiles with relief and burrows contently into my chest. I love you, Fuminori, she purrs softly. With her body draped over mine, I become even more aware of how light and delicate she is. Can this tiny girl and I really live as husband and wife? I feel a pang of self-loathing at the question. How can I still be afraid after all that's happened? Saya's feelings are so earnest, how can I not accept them? I need to resolve once and for all to rid myself of the useless trappings of morality. Saya and I are all that matter. There's no point in worrying about what others think anymore. Although I suppose I should still talk to Saya's guardian. Of course, I need to find Dr. Agai as soon as possible. Okay. Maybe we're good. By the time I drift to sleep in exhaustion's comforting embrace, all doubts about Saya's actions have vanished from my mind. Whatever the case, all that matters is that she's returned to me. Whew. Ugh. Oh, we're talking about the neighbors again. I'm actually going to take a quick break, just a short one, like a 10-minute one or whatever. I won't turn the stream off, I'll just be having a short break. Okay. And, yeah, I'll be back in a sec. Just gonna take a break, refill my drink, go to the toilet, all that usual break stuff. It won't be long at all, just a handful of minutes. Okay. I need to make that a bit bigger. I think it was like that. I don't know, something like that. That's probably about it. Close enough. Alright. 2 o'clock. Suzumi Yosuke. Wait, did I? Yeah, my mic's back. I'll just turn down the volume of the game a little. Okay, we're good. How's everyone enjoying it so far? This absolute insane game. 2 o'clock. Oh, wait. We haven't been going for 1 hour. Scuffed manual resizing. Yeah, it's fine. It's basically the same. It's fine. It's not that scuffed, honestly. But yeah. How long was the last stream before it got freaking, like, cut off? About an hour? Okay. And this one's been going for about an hour and a half, so we're at like 2.5 hours? Okay. 2 o'clock. For Suzumi Yosuke, this is the most fulfilling time of day. After seeing his wife and daughter off, taking care of the morning chores, and eating a leisurely lunch, it's finally time to sit down on his easel. Oh, he likes doing whatever you do with an easel. I can't remember. Is it sculpting? Painting, I see. He's not a particularly popular painter, and he would only hold an exhibition if he were hurting for money. However, the design work he does on the side ensures that there's always enough to support his lifestyle. Alongside his salary, his wife earns working for a magazine. They're able to pay their mortgage, send their daughter to school, and still have plenty left over. Well, yeah, I imagine. Like, how much must she earn? Like, goddamn, working for that magazine company if he's able to, like, not have a full-time job. Yosuke's life is perfect, leisurely, and absent of want. He loves his house, considering it the symbol of his success. When he mows the lawn, polishes the windows and floors, and cleans the kitchen, toilet, and bath, he feels the same joy as he does when washing his own body. Just as he knows the length of his fingernails and the time since his last meal, he also knows everything about his home's condition, the status of every door, the freshness of every flower, the amount of ice in the ice tray, every last detail. This is his pride, and what he wants. And when he sits in his studios, smelling the turpentine and knowing that each element of his house is in perfect order, he feels the ultimate satisfaction. While trying to find the right combination of paints on his palette, he suddenly feels thirsty, but soon remembers that there isn't much orange juice left in the refrigerator. In fact, it's also about time to stock up on bath additive and powdered soap. He could get everything at the supermarket when he goes to shop for dinner, but it will probably be quite heavy. Now then, where should I leave off to go shopping? As he ponders this dilemma, he heads downstairs to the kitchen. Just then, a breath of air tickles the back of his neck, bringing him to a halt in the middle of the hallway. A breeze? Impossible. Every window in the house is closed. Yosuke shut them himself during his morning cleaning. Yosuke enters the living room, searching for the source of the breeze. Something stinks. It's the same pungent smell of fetid swampland that emanates from the Sakisaka house. The window facing the yard exit door is open, its curtains billowing loosely in the gentle breeze. There's a hole in the glass next to the lock. It looks strange, like it was melted by some chemical, instead of broken. Someone must have reached through the hole to unlock the window. There's a hole in the wait. Alright. Yusuke stands paralyzed, his heart pounding with anger and fear. He listens closely, but hears nothing. Perhaps the intruder has already finished his business and left, but a burglar wouldn't have left the room untouched, would he? Maybe he heard Yusuke coming and hid somewhere nearby. Preemptive F. Yeah, this is a preemptive F for sure. Yusuke realizes that his still wet palette knife is in his right hand. He must have forgotten to put it aside before going downstairs. He stares numbly at the knife for a moment, then decides that it's not enough protection. Instead, he grabs the ashtray sitting on top of the table, made of thick, solid glass. It is a bit it is big and heavy enough to serve as a weapon. The home that he thought of as a part of himself now seems utterly alien. Keenly aware of the thumping of his heart, Yusuke looks around the living room and sees little that could be used as a hiding place. The intruder must have gone either to the guest room or through the dining room to the kitchen. The kitchen is close to the stairs. If there had been movement, Yusuke would have noticed it when he came down, which means that the guest room is the most likely place. He shuffles over to the guest room and prepares to slide it open. But what is that stench? Could the breeze alone carry something so foul? It's as if the odor is coming from inside the room. He readies the ashtray and throws open the door. The straw-matted Japanese-style room is empty. There is a closet, but no one could fit in there. So the intruder already left. Yosuke relaxes, the exhaustion of sudden relief coming over him. And that is when something seizes his ankle. The instant he freezes in shock, his leg is yanked out from under him, sending him crashing to the floor. Stars explode behind his eyes as his head smacks against the door rail. The hand, if it can even be called that, wrapped around Yusuke's ankle extends all the way back to beneath the living room sofa. There are barely 5 centimeters between the sofa and the floor. Whatever is hiding there, it can't possibly be human. Before the screaming Yusuke can regain his footing, countless hand-like appendages seize his arms and legs, rendering him helpless. Calm down. Don't be scared. As the hideous voice burbles in his ear, something cold and soft crawls atop him. Yusuke can't even scream, his terror is so great. It won't hurt. Don't be scared. It won't hurt. Oof. Thin, tube-like appendages penetrate his ear and nose, wriggling deep into his skull. Right before the sensation drives him mad, Yusuke loses consciousness. Damn. Thank you for taking the time to see us, Koji says, his humble bow concealing his surprise at the doctor's youth, even without bow. Even without her light makeup, she wouldn't look a day over 30. She must be quite talented to be a leading neurosurgeon at such a young age. Yeah, it's like I said earlier, she's hot. Big F. Yusuke's done for, man. Time for another meal for Minori to munch on. Don't mention it, I was hoping someone like you would come along. The friendly smile has none of the coldness one might expect from a sharp, refined beauty. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Dr. Tambo, Sakisaka Fuminori's attending physician. And Fuminori's friend, Tono Koji. This is Tsukuba Yo. Yo gives a quick bow, her expression apologetic. When they arrived at the T University Medical Center and asked to see Fuminori's doctor, Koji and Yo had been preparing for rejection. They hadn't expected the ease at which their request was granted. You say you want to know what's wrong with him. Well, so do I. I'm sorry? He didn't come in for his checkup 2 days ago. I tried calling his home, but there was no answer. 2 days ago. The same day Fuminori was searching that abandoned house. Koji frowns, wondering what was important enough for him to blow off his appointment. What is he like at school? He's totally messed up. Seeing Yo just jerk out of the corner of his eye, Koji regrets not choosing his words more carefully. Since the accident, he's been like a completely different person. You have no idea what to do, so he thought that talking to you might help. Are you medical students too? She asks out of nowhere. Huh? Well, yes. Would you like to see his chart? Would you really show it to us? Koji replies, incredulous. Dr. Tombo regards him silently for a moment, then sighs and says, someone wanted to see it, and without the hospital's permission. His files were stolen from the archives 2 nights ago. Hontou desu ka? She stares hard at the astonished students, then shakes her head with a tired smile. Well, it doesn't look like you two are involved. That's a relief. Of course we aren't. However, the culprit must have had an interest in his condition, or wanted to erase his records. Either way, I can only assume that it was someone close to him. I see. An ominous thought flashes through Koji's mind. It couldn't have been Fuminori itself, could it? Koji looks at Dr. Tambo and finds her staring right back at him, her expression grave. He realizes that she must be harboring the same suspicion. What do you think? Do you have any idea who might have done it? Perhaps Dr. Tombo didn't have anyone in mind when she asked, but Koji's thoughts immediately fired at that eerie house in which Fuminori led him. I don't really know what their relation is, but there's someone called Ogai. Probably a doctor or a... Koji stops speaking as he sees the dramatic change that has come across Dr. Tombo's expression. You know Dr. Ogai? Do you know when and where Fuminori met that man? No, that's what I'd like to know. Just who is this Ogai? After remaining silent for some time, Dr. Tombo loses a heavy sigh. Alright. It's not like you couldn't find out on your own. Ogai Masahiko was a doctor teaching at this hospital. He was dismissed over 6 months ago, however, following certain incidents. What incidents? What did he do? I can't say any more. And anyway, it has nothing to do with your friend. Koji has no argument with which to answer Dr. Tombo's flat rejection. However, he can't shake the feeling that this Ogai person is the key to unraveling the mystery surrounding Fuminori. Doctor, he says, making up his mind. Fuminori might be involved in a crime. At the sudden declaration, both Yo and Dr. Tombo raised their eyebrows. What do you mean? A friend of ours went missing after going to see him. Fuminori denies any involvement, of course. You mean... Omi? Koji is unable to bear the shock of Yo's voice. Sorry, Tsukuba. I couldn't tell you. Dr. Tombo was frowning, her expression even more serious than before. Right now, this Ogai seems to be the center of Fuminori's attention. If we knew who he is and what Fuminori is looking for, we might start to see the whole picture. Please tell us, Doctor, just what happened at this hospital. Dr. Tombo hesitates for some time, refusing to make eye contact, but she finally shakes her head. I'm sorry, this is not a decision I can make on my own. Sensei. Give me some time. I'll do my own investigation now that I know how far this has gone. Please. Koji's out of options. All that's left is to trust this young doctor. It's frustrating, but a friend's rights only go so far. Let's exchange cell phone numbers. I'll call you if I learn anything, and you can call me the moment anything changes. Alright. Nani? Oh. What the? What happened to me? Yosuke's awareness returns slowly as though rising from a bog. He's cold. No. Hot? Something itches, like tepid tongues and cold slugs crawling over his skin. What the hell's going on? Timidly, he opens his eyes. Oh god. What? It's everywhere. The thing that attacked him in the living room, it's everywhere. Terror shatters Yosuke's sanity. He throws off the thing lying atop him, but his wild flailing sends him crashing to the floor. But is it really the floor? The long wriggling fibers of what should be the carpet are winding themselves around his fingers. The floor is made of worms. He tears his limbs free of the worms and tries to stand, but loses his balance and tumbles on the floor again. The worms immediately swarm over his body. Where am I? Where did that thing take me? Yosuke crawls across the worm-ridden floor towards the only exit from the pulsating room. When he gets outside, however, all he can see is blood, bile, and rotten meat. There is no place to run. What is this? Non-doctor. He's alive, but... yeah. Most terrifying of all, the hellish place has the same layout as Yosuke's house. In a half-mad daze, he wandered through the nightmarish mockery of his house. In the small room where his studio should be, he finds an easel made of bones, displaying blood-soaked canvases. Like some cruel joke, everything exactly is where it should be in Yosuke's studio. Damn it. Let me out. Let me out of here. Howling, Yosuke lashes out against everything within reach. The easel of bone shatters, driving splinters into his fist. He feels the pain but does not wake from the nightmare. If this isn't a dream, then what is it? When his strength gives out, Yosuke falls to his knees sobbing. For the first time in his life, he prays. The sound of the door opening and closing grates on his ears. Downstairs, the front door. Is someone else here? We're home. Yosuke trembles as the blood-curdling sound. It's that thing again. The monster has returned. Daddy, we're home. Where's dinner? Oh god, he's gonna... Oh no. Oh, he's not here. Did he go shopping? Oh no. Oh no. What's he gonna do? When can we eat? He's gonna kill his family, isn't he? Yosuke hears the sound of something slimy slushing its way up the stairs. Even as he cowers in terror, he slides his trembling hand across the floor and grabs one of the bones from the broken easel. The tip of the bone is nice and sharp. If he holds it in both hands and puts his weight behind it, he might be able to use it to defend himself. Honey, are you home? Oh god, no. The monster's growls are getting closer. Holding his breath, Yosuke presses his back against the wall next to the door. The pounding of his heart is like thunder in his ears, so loud that he fears the creature might hear it. He knows it'll eat him if it finds him again, but all he can do is keep from crying. At last, the door creaks open. Honey? Yosuke leaps on the creature as it enters, fear turning his roar into a high-pitched scream. Oh no intensifies. Yes, seriously. The flesh beast is covered in sludge and vile juices, but before horror can paralyze him, Yosuke brings his bone stake stabbing down. The monster screams as the stake pierces its chest and punches through to the other side. It falls back, writhing in agony. The sight of its pain sets Yusuke's blood on fire. I can win. I can kill it. If I finish it off before it enters my head again, I'm safe. Yosuke grabs the bone and twists with all his might. The monster convulses and gurgles, its trembling tentacles reaching up as though begging for help. Die. Die! Die! Yosuke knocks it to the floor, then brings his heel crashing down on its flopping body again and again. With each stomp, it groans and spasms grow weaker. When the monster at last stops twitching, Yosuke, panting hard, tears the stake from its corpse and rises to his feet. Daddy? Something squeals. Yosuke turns around to see another smaller monster peeking out at him from the stair landing. There's still one left. His desperate, rage-filled attack both exhilarated him and gave him a taste for violence. This one will be easier. It's smaller and weaker. Oh no! She was such a cute little girl. No! Grinning maniacally, Yosuke rises his stake and moves toward the second creature. Man, this is gonna be like... Man, this is fucked up. The monster flees, screaming down the stairs. Oh my god, that sound. Not about to let his prey escape, Yosuke roars and gives chase. The thought that killing the monster might end his nightmare feeds his savage bloodlust. No, Daddy, no! Oh my god. When the monster trips and falls in the dining room, Yosuke leaps on top of it and brings the stake crashing down. His bloodlust unsated, he pulls it free, then drives it again into the monster's flesh. Once, twice, 3 times, and more. Until there is nothing left but shredded, paralyzed meat. Pulverized meat, sorry. Jesus Christ, that's fucked up. Eventually, the only sound in the house is Yosuke's heavy breathing. He has slain 2 monsters, but the nightmare shows no sign of ending. Yosuke staggers to the front door and goes outside. The sky, the city, everything has gone mad. Twisted shapes, nauseating colors, stinking air. There is no escape, no end to the nightmare. The last remnant of Yosuke's sanity vanishes like dust in the wind. Hey, mister. Yosuke turns to the sound of a girl's voice. Saya! She's standing in front of the house next door, wearing a spotless one piece over her pure white skin. In the midst of this filth-ridden world, she alone glows with beauty. How do I look to you, mister? You're very cute. Yosuke feels a sudden black lust rise within him. Really? Then the experiment might be a success. Yosuke walks up to the strangely jubilant girl and brushes his hand against her long, smooth hair. Such a lovely girl. You must be the only one in the whole world. mister? She looks up at the man towering over her, perhaps disturbed by his hungry stare. How about we play a game, little girl? Okay, but what are we gonna do? A grin parts Yosuke's lips and he replies, everything that'll please me, of course. It's kind of fucked up. Oh boy, I need to probably turn this off. With that, he grabs the girl's collar and tears the front of her dress wide open. Shock and fear twist the lovely girl's delicate features, stimulating Yosuke's sadism. Even after killing those two monsters, the embers of violence will smolder in his heart, and now they have new fuel to burn. Oh, I like that expression on you. Won't you show me an even prettier one? No, yada! Terrified girl flees into the sake house. Maybe we're good? Yosuke runs after her, feeling the joy of the hunt. No, stay away! Even in desperation, she has no hope of outrunning his longer stride. Yosuke charges down the hallway and catches up to her in the kitchen. He grabs her from behind and wrestles her to the floor before she can resist. Just in case. Yep, I called it. There's, something very unsafe. Let me go. Why? Why are you doing this? Like I said, because you're too cute. During the sensation of her thin arms struggling futilely against his grip, Yosuke uses his weight to hold her down while ripping off her remaining scraps of clothing. No, I don't want this. Stop. Yamete. Yosuke stares at the smooth, perfect body of the girl flopping beneath him, entranced by her cherry-like nipples, soft yet tight belly, and narrow waist. The thought of violating such an immaculate creature amid the horrors of this twisted world is irresistibly erotic. NTR. No, I don't know. I wonder what's actually gonna happen. I feel like Fuminori's gonna rush in and kill him. Yosuke runs his tongue over her stomach and chest as though preparing to eat her whole. She stiffens and whimpers at the sensation. It isn't supposed to be this way. A tear-choked voice satisfies Yosuke's lust for conquest. This nightmare has violated him, but now he is able to visit the same torment of this innocent girl. Where he was the victim, he is now the victimizer. The release he feels is intoxicating. His manhood is ready and waiting, so he frees it from his pants. As he playfully prods the girl's tightly shut slit with it, she finally starts crying in earnest. No, stop. I'm scared. Fuminori. I haven't even done anything yet. Putting his mouth close to the swimming girl's ears, Yosuke whispers, if you're this scared already, how will you scream when I put it in? Yummy. Staring into her wide open-eyed, Yosuke drives himself deep into her body. Jesus, this is getting really fucked up. The girl screams in pain as he forces himself through her still dry slit. Yosuke is surprised by a lack of a hymen, but even more so by the sensation of her inner folds, much too welcoming for such an immature screaming girl. Oh my, you're awfully used to men. You look cute, but you're really a dirty little girl. Ugh, don't say little girl in that situation. No more, don't hurt me. No, Yosuke smiles. That's rape, sir. Yeah, it is. It is rape. I think I have to punish you for being so naughty. Oh, that's messed up. Yosuke begins to move inside her, each violent thrust forcing a cry from her lips, and tears from her eyes as her head jerks in agony. Soon she loses the strength to resist and goes limp, concentrating instead on enduring Yosuke's cruelty, yet she still stares tearfully pleading into Yosuke's lust-infumed eyes as he pounds mercilessly into her flesh. Why aren't you gentle? Because you're adorable, Yosuke roars, his breathing wild with passion. You're too pretty not to hurt, too beautiful not to break. Bruh, moments continue. Yeah, it's still... yikes. This is like the third CG that's messed up that I've gotten to. The girl's choking gasps, the despair in her eyes, they only intensify his ecstasy. Help me, Fuminori. That's a yikes. As always, the sight of the city grate on my nerves. Today, however, I don't feel as much hatred as I usually do. I've grown more accustomed to my condition, but that is not the reason for today's high spirits. My search of the Agai house has finally bore fruit. When he pulled all the drawers out of his desk in the study, I found an envelope stuck between the desk and the wall. It must have fallen off the back of the writing tray. Inside were 3 outdoor photographs. I couldn't recognize the scenery due to my condition, but I'm pretty sure that they show 3 buildings. Scrolled on the back of each photo was an address. Nagano Prefecture, M Village, Tochigi Prefecture, S Town, Shizuko Prefecture, H Town. None of the names is familiar, but they must be way out in the countryside. The photos all dated more than 10 years ago. I also know why they were taken. I don't know why they were taken or what they mean, but maybe Saya will be able to make some sense of them. In any case, there is something that even Saya missed while she was living in that house. I wonder how she'll react when I show her what I've found. Saya, I want so badly to see her. The thought of her waiting for me speeds my footsteps. When I step through the gate, I see the front door is wide open. Again, this is the second time this has happened. Upon entering the house this time, however, the sound of Saya crying chills my blood. I don't know if they're gonna show something messed up again, so, And it's not just her, I also hear a low, wet grunting. There's no time to take off my shoes. I race down the hallway propelled by a terrifying premonition. Oh yeah, it's messed up. A monster is in my house, and it's raping Saya. The filth oozing from its body spread across her skin as it drives itself with animal ferocity between her weakly trembling thighs. The monster forces its grotesque penis deeper and deeper into her, each brutal thrust wrapping her vagina in clearly painful ways. Each time the beast moves, Saya's sobs become cries of agony. She looks at me with tear-filled eyes and calls my name in a weak, breathless voice. Fuminori, help. Rage erupts inside me like black lava. The monster stops gorging itself on Saya's body and turns its head to look at me. Surprised by my own composure, I slip past it and grab the meat cleaver sitting next to the sink. Without a moment's hesitation, I slash at the monster's face. Oh, whoa. I don't know if this is okay, cause like this is pretty violent, but that's there. I feel more comfortable showing that, but for now I'll keep it blocked, cause it's probably gonna go back to nudity again. It screams and staggers away from Saya. My attack must have blinded it because it flails its tentacles wildly as it tries to drive me away. My bloodlust still unstated, I calmly seize one of the appendages and plunge my weapon twice more into its quivering flesh. The blade enters its body with fascinating ease. Each strike sprays my face with its blood. Oh my god. It's really going out, all out. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. As I carve the monster to pieces and savor its hideous screams, my mind is finally consumed by rage. Because I'm pretty sure excessive gore is just as much against the rules as nudity is, so we'll be careful. No mercy. I'll see this monster suffer for what it's done to Saya. I give myself to the fury, howling at the top of my lungs as I slash and slash and slash and slash. Even after the flesh beast stops moving, I keep slashing until I realize that it can no longer feel pain. Cursing myself for killing it so quickly, I stab the cleaver into the floor, snapping it in half. Excessive. This is the perfectly appropriate amount of gore. Yeah, dude. It's fine. Okay, we're back to this now, though. When my thoughts finally begin to regain some cohesion, I find myself still digging the broken knife into the floor. The monster is gone, but pieces of it are scattered everywhere. I stop cutting into the tile, and in the sudden silence, I hear Saya's faint sobs coming from the corner of the kitchen. Is that safe? I don't know if that's safe. She is naked. Saya. I pull the cowering Saya right into my arms. She stiffens in fear at first, but as soon as she realizes that it's me, she clings to my body and cries. Fuminori, I was scared, so scared. I don't know what to say, I can only keep holding her. This should never have happened to Saya. Everything in this twisted world is to blame. Yes, including myself. I couldn't protect her. If I'd been here, then maybe I could have prevented this. I'm sorry, she says again and again in a voice choked with tears. Not wanting to hear that from her, I pull her head into my chest. Don't say that, Saya. It's not your fault. Try to reassure her, but she shakes her head vigorously in denial. No, it is. I did it. I don't understand. What is she saying? You did what? I messed with his brain, she answers, glaring at the disembodied monster with her shallow eyes. I made the inside of his head the same as yours. I made him see the world like you do. It takes me some time to understand the meaning of Saya's words. What? But how? Oh, yep. Another CG that's very much unsafe. Finally regaining her composure, Saya responds to my confusion in a low voice. I can do stuff like that. I can change the bodies of other living beings. I've had this ability since I was born. Every organism is different, so I have to study them in detail before I know how to change them. By doing some research, I figured out what happened to your brain, so I wanted to see if I could do the same thing to someone else. But why? I thought that if everyone were like you, they would all be kind to me. My heart aches at the loneliness in her voice as she confesses her sorrowful wish. But that man, he wasn't kind at all. He said he wanted to hurt me, break me, and he... She starts crying into my chest again. Unable to say any more, I gently rub her back while trying to get my jumbled thoughts together. What is Saya? Or that she can do such a thing? The answer is beyond me. However, there is one thing that I can answer here and now. Saya is mistaken. You think that I'm kind to you because of the accident? Yeah, she nods sadly. I smile and shake my head. You're wrong. That was only the beginning. Our relationship is the sum of so much more. The time you and I have spent together, those days, those experiences, are what made us what we are. Fuminori, you've been there for me, Saya, sharing my pain, giving me hope and joy. That's how you became so important to me, see? It's harder than you think. Saya's still crying, but now her tears feel warm against my chest. Yeah, I understand. I finally understand. A smile shines through her tears. I only have you, Fuminori. There will never be anyone else. Now, more than ever before, I feel the depth of the bond between us, and I'm sure that Saya feels it too. I wrap my arms tightly around her and seal her lips with mine. Saya responds, winding her arms around my neck as our tongues desperately seek each other's warmth. At this moment, Saya is my whole world, and I am hers. The earth turns for us alone. Of course, I still haven't told her something very important. I don't know why I've never seen it. Don't know why I've never said it before, perhaps because it was always so obvious. However, I should put it into words at least once, this earth of mine. Saya, Wait. She stops me with a finger against my lips. Before that, Fuminori, tell me one thing. What do you want? What do I want? Saya nods, staring into my eyes with unusual solemnity? Like I said, I can affect the bodies of living beings in a way that nothing else can. And now that I've learned how to manipulate human brains... Saya pauses and takes a deep breath before continuing. I can turn you back to normal. What? Until now, that hasn't even been in the realm of possibilities. I just have to do the opposite of what I did to that man. It's really simple. I replace Saya's words in my head to be sure of their meaning. Just tell me, Fuminori. Do you want to return to your old life? Do you want to take back what you lost in the accident? Okay, so I can pick I want it all back or I don't need it anymore. I would show that there's a choice right now, but the background is naked Saya, so I can't really do that. It's not the one from before, it's a different one that I definitely 100% can't show. Oh, hang on. Here we go. I found a menu. I want to save. I can't save? Okay, yep, the config worked. Okay. So in the config menu, you can set it to automatically save when you reach a choice. So it did work and it did it. But I also found the menu, and I just went to the save menu and it's already made a save of it. Gotta run through that all over. No, it's fine. We can just go back to this choice. So I'll say want it all back. We'll see what happens if he takes it all back. Well, of course, I answer without thinking. If it's possible to go back, then I want to, I think. I've never wondered if there could be any other answer. I stopped dwelling on this question a long time ago, and if I'd been asked before I met Saya, I wouldn't have hesitated. But what about now? What does it mean to wish for the past, and what could it do to me and Saya? As soon as these questions occur to me, my true feelings become unclear. The hurried answer I just gave her was less certain than I thought. Oh, right, that's what it was showing before. Oh, yeah, of course you would. Saya smiles softly, her expression an unreadable mixture of what seems to be sorrow and relief. Seeing it fills me with sudden unease, as though I've just wounded her deeply with my careless words. Seeing Saya sweat. Hey, Saya, yeah, this is... It's okay, Fuminori. Don't say anything. As Saya's silences me with another kiss and thrusts her tongue into my mouth with even greater passion than before. As the sweet softness of her tongue clouds my mind, I begin to feel an urgent need to say what she prevented me from saying. To speak these most important words. Saya. I can't speak, for some reason, and my mind is hazy. My consciousness is slipping away as the euphoria from her kiss spreads to my entire body. Sleep well, Fuminori. I hear Saya whisper softly from far away. Don't worry, when you wake up, it'll all be over. Nani? Wait, I have to tell you something before I sleep. Just one more thing. My efforts are meaningless, however, as oblivion calls me into its embrace. Whoa. When I awoke, the first thing that greeted me was a terrible stink. Mr. Suzumi's body was covered in flies, and I could smell the rotten stench that you would expect from a corpse. The night had ended, but Saya was nowhere to be seen in the morning light. Aside from the blood-covered floor, the kitchen looked the same as it had before the accident. In the den, however, the colours that had been so soothing the day before now served as a stark reminder of what a distant world I'd been living in. Despite knowing that it would be futile, I wandered the house searching for Saya for almost an hour. I tried in vain to deny reality. Then I called the police. When the operator answered, I couldn't stop myself from crying. It had been such a long time since I'd heard a human voice other than Saya's. As became clear later, Mr. Suzumi had murdered his family before I killed him. Unable to give the police a satisfactory explanation, I was arrested for all three murders, and when they found the remains of Takahata, Omi, in my house, a fourth was added to the charges. Yep, I knew it would be found in the fridge, but I thought like her boyfriend or whatever would find it. During my interrogation, I told them everything exactly as it had happened, in every detail. The detectives didn't believe me, of course, but the doctor who came later did. He had me moved from the jail to a much cleaner white room. That's right, this room looks just as white to me as it does to everyone else. In the end, they declared me incapable of answering for my actions. Everything that had happened to me was real, but part of a reality incompatible with the rest of the world. So the doctors gave me a space all to myself, a place where I could live in my own world. I'm sad that I wasn't believed, but I know that it couldn't be helped. In this world, reality is what the majority says it is, and I had the misfortune to step outside of that box. The walls of my room are undeniably white. That, at least, I can be thankful for as I live out the rest of my life here. Everyone said that there was never any girl named Saya. Well, so be it. Saya probably was never part of their world. But why shouldn't I be able to hear Saya's voice here, in my room? This is my world, after all. a continuation of the very real time that we spent together. How long did I wait with such thoughts floating through my mind? One night, I woke to the sound of something crawling down the hallway. The sound would not normally have awoken me, but I must have had a premonition that night, sleeping later than usual. I had waited for her arrival, and so I knew instantly that it was her. Saya? She did not answer, but I could feel her outside my door, struggling with some internal conflict. Why won't you let me hear your voice? After a long silence, something small slid through the narrow bars of my peephole. It was a cell phone, the screen already showing a notepad with freshly entered text. My voice will sound strange to you. I couldn't suppress a chuckle at Saya's uncharacteristic display of shyness. I don't care about that at all, I said, sending the phone back for the bars. I just want to hear you, see you. Oh god, you don't know what you're saying, man. After a short pause, the phone returned to my side. Please let me stay the Saya you remember. Okay. I started to suspect that it might be so. In the hell my eyes had made of the world, Saya alone had looked normal. I'd thought that she was somehow unique. In truth, however, she had probably been a different kind of unique than I'd imagined. It wasn't that my senses hadn't distorted her appearance, but that she had been so unusual as to seem normal to my twisted mind. Saya's true form was something other than what I had known. Now, however, I could see her as she really was. But Saya didn't want that, and it was not for me to question the workings of her heart. I just had to accept that girl needs to keep some things private. I tried to say something to you that day. Do you remember? I slid the phone back to her. I was hoping you'd forgotten. I smiled wryly at the text on the screen, wondering if she really thought me so heartless. How could I forget? No one was listening, but still, it would have been embarrassing to speak the rest out loud, so this time I typed it into the phone. G-H-I-J-K-L. Oh, I see, it's saying what he's pressing. Yeah, it's gonna be I love you, right? Yeah, V-E-Y-O-U. Yeah, I see, it's how many times he has to press it, yeah. Slid the phone back for the slot. I could sense her trembling outside the door. I couldn't hear her or see her, but still I knew. Saya was crying. I was ready, you know. Perhaps my word offered no comfort, spoken so late. Even so, I was ready. I wanted to return to my old life, true, but I would have abandoned that wish for Saya. I know that I would have gone with her, hand in hand, as far as we could, even to the most forbidden of places. Saya too must have known that I was prepared, and because she knew, she stopped me from saying those words. If I had spoken that oath, there would have been no going back. I'm sorry, I was a coward. Seeing the words on the screen, I shook my head. It's not your fault. If I hadn't hesitated, you would have found the courage. I was afraid of you, of how you were changing because of me. It's no one's fault. So I couldn't bring herself to take everything from me, and I couldn't bring myself to give up everything for her. We were too weak to find happiness. What will you do now, Saya? I'll keep searching for my dad. He'll know how to send me back to where I came from. I see. You do want to go home, don't you? Short time passed with no words or messages exchanged. I wonder how many times in that brief silence yes or no changed places in her mind. Yeah. When the phone finally returned, the characters on the screen seemed strangely uncertain. Well, I hope you find your father. I'll do my best. The time had come for our parting. She had chosen her path, and I had to give her my blessing. There was nothing more to be said. If you change your mind, I'll always be here. You can come see me whenever you want. I will, thank you. Goodbye, Fuminori. I read her final message and returned the phone to the other side. Goodbye, Saya. She gently slapped my door in response, and then I heard the sound of her sliding off down the hallway, and I was left alone in the silence of the night. No, it's not over. Ever since that day I have been waiting. Perhaps Saya really did return to where she came from. Perhaps she is still wandering today, looking for her father. It must be hard, she must be lonely. When she can no longer stand being alone, she will surely return to me. I am the only one who will comfort her and whisper sweet nothings in her ear. And so I wait, dreaming of her face and her voice. I wait, forever in my white world. Is that the end? Seems so. That was much shorter than I was expecting. I mean, VNDB had it set as short, but the problem is its range of short is 1 to 10 hours. So it could have been 1 hour, it could have been like 10. And I'm reading it out loud, so it's obviously going to take longer than not reading it out loud. What the fuck, a bad end? What a ride. Yeah, well, kinda a bad end, yeah. I wasn't sure though. I wasn't sure which would be bad and good end. I mean, we're gonna do both endings anyway. So we'll check the other option and see what goes down, because I still got like... Yeah, I got enough time left to stream, because I stop at 6. That's enough time to check the other ending. But yeah, what a ride is an apt response. That was crazy. Although I got used to like all the fucked up flesh scenery by the end. It was pretty crazy. Sai is pretty hot in a like, you know, fucked up brain form where you see her as cute. Just USA! Good on them for putting out an official patch. Because yes, the patch is also by them. It costs $4. Or you can just buy it from their website for $4 more than the Steam version, and it's already patched. It's already uncensored. Only the Steam version's uncensored. And it's $4 cheaper, pay $4 for the patch, yada yada. Alright, now let's go back and get the other option. Load save file, yes. I don't need it anymore. Alright, we're good now. On that terrible day when I first opened my eyes after the accident, what would my answer have been? When I think back on this many years from now, will I wish that my answer today had been different? It doesn't matter. Here at this moment there is no doubt in my mind. Who was that? I asked Saya, looking at the unidentified pieces of the monster. The man living next door. I don't know his name. Oh, Mr. Suzumi. He was hardly a stranger. We've been neighbors for as long as I can remember. I go so far as to say we were on good terms before the accident. And now I've killed him with my own 2 hands. I feel little. Mr. Suzumi, the kindly painter who lived next door, is but a distant memory. The pieces of meat around me belong to a creature whose mere existence was nauseating. Only by killing the vermin could I find relief. He complained about my yard being filthy, the swine. It doesn't matter what Saya did, he wasn't worth keeping alive anyway. These are my honest feelings. My hands are wet with another man's blood, and yet I am utterly calm. Now I know what I lost in that accident. Saya sees that I can take it back, but I know that I cannot. It is gone forever, like the life of a man called Suzumi. Hey Saya. No doctor could possibly fix this my condition, you know. Fuminori. You can do what no human is capable of. You're not human, are you? Saya looks away, her expression unreadable. Everything is monstrous and loathsome in my eyes. Everything but Saya. I thought that she was somehow unique. I was wrong. I see her just as I do everything else, as something other than what she really is. But why should that surprise me? Saya is part of my world, just as I am part of hers. It doesn't change what we are to each other. I stand and walk over to Suzumi's dismembered corpse. I read this manga once, about a man who recovered from an accident, only to find that he could no longer see the world as it was. Kinda like me. I finally realized that even though the stench of these monsters' flesh turns my stomach, their blood and guts smell pretty good. In fact, I know this fragrance quite well. I saw people as rocks and robots as beautiful women. And so we fell in love with something that wasn't remotely human. I retrieve the cleaver, pick up a piece of Suzumi's body, and start removing the skin and tendons. Ah, just as I thought. The stuff underneath is exactly the same as what Saya and I have been eating. Hey, this looks pretty good. Let's eat it. Fuminori? Oh, sorry, you're not in the mood for that now, are you? Oh, you're in no mood for that now, eh? Now that it's dead though, meat is meat. It'd be a waste to throw it away. We should get it in the fridge. Delicious. 1,000 chips delicious. Is that alright with you? Sure, I answer easily. There's no longer any room for doubt in my mind. Also, his wife and daughter are probably next door. They might cause trouble when he doesn't come home. We'd better hunt them down before they go to the police. Is that really what you want? Saya asks again, this time with a trace of fear in her voice. I guess I still haven't convinced her of my sincerity. So at the end of this manga, the man who fell for someone inhuman gives up his own humanity for the sake of their love. A happy ending, don't you think? Fuminori. You're all I need now, Saya. Nothing else matters as long as we're together. Oh, whoa. Tossing the knife and meat aside, I pull Saya into my arms once more. I can say it now, can't I? Saya, I love you. Saya wipes away the tears flowing from her face. I can no longer see any hint of fear in her face. Face? Eyes, earlier. I don't want you to regret this. I don't, but I've sworn my oath and Saya has accepted it. We have nothing to fear now. Saya will never need to cry again. I can't help it. I'm so happy. I guess I'm pretty selfish, aren't I? I don't mind. I'll always indulge your selfishness. Filled with contentment, we exchange a smile and set to the task of cleaning the room. A single person produces a lot more meat than I expected. Speaking of which, I seem to remember doing something similar before. About his wife and daughter. I think he killed them. I heard their screams. Oh, that makes things easier. After we finish here, we should go gather the meat from the Suzumi house. That should be enough to hold us for a while, and we can use their refrigerator to store that what won't fit in ours. It's all coming together. Saya and I will be just fine. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. it's the all coming together meme. The Kronk meme. It's all coming together. I think I recognize this picture. After we finish our labors and get into bed, I show Saya what I found in Ogai's house. It looks familiar. Yeah, I've definitely been there. The photograph that Saya has selected is the one with a Tojiki Prefecture address on the back. That's a house, right? I see trees and mountains. Yeah, wow, Fuminori, you can see pictures now? A little. At the outset of my idea, I had to depend entirely on my sense of distance to decipher what I saw. The house in front of me, the mountains far behind them, the clouds high above. Only distance and scale told me what they were. Photographs and other flat images used to be nearly impossible to make out. Recently, however, I've gotten better at understanding what things are by their shape. I know what the mountains and sky look like, for instance, and how to tell them apart from buildings. Each of the 3 pictures shows a similar scene. A lone house in the middle of a thick forest. They've called it his retreat. He said that no one would find us there. Judging by the address on the back of each photo, they probably are excellent places to hide from prying eyes. But why 3? The dates are pretty old, and it seems odd that they were all taken within a few days of each other. Maybe he was scouting properties, looking for the perfect location for his hideaway. Saya recognizes only one of the houses, so that must be the one Ogai picked. Checking the location on a road map of the Kanto area, I find that it's about 3 hours out of Tokyo by car. Do you think your father will be there? I tried calling him, but he didn't answer. I don't think he's there. But he might have stopped by recently. The way I see it, our only hope of finding a guy is to follow whatever lead we have, no matter how small. The probability that his hideout will yield useful information may be low, but it's not 0. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I think I'll check this place out tomorrow. Do you have to? Saya pouts. I wasn't expecting her to reject. Isn't it far? It'll only take about half a day to go there, check it out, and come back. I have to stay home by myself while you're gone. So that's what it is. Slightly exacerbated, I smile and rub Saya's head. Be a little patient, okay? You want to find your father too, don't you? After a brief silence, during which her expression is hard to decipher, Saya looks up at me and says, "Hey, Fuminori, let's forget about Dad." Huh? That's the last thing I expected her to say. Forget about him? But he's your father. Aren't you worried? Not anymore, Saya says, coming closer to feel my warmth. I have you now. I call him Dad, but he's not really my father. He taught me a lot, and probably loved me in his own way. But you're kinder, and warmer. So words make me happy, but I hear the loneliness in them. Are you really alright with that? Yeah. You don't like it being just the 2 of us? I do. But I also want to meet Dr. Ogai. Having finally figured out how to explain my feelings, I continue. I want to get to know you better. If there's someone who knows more about you than I do, I need to meet them. Oh? Saya doesn't seem upset, but she does tilt her head quizzically, as though my thoughts are strange to her. And I also want to... Yeah, I'm gonna check it out tomorrow. Another plan has started to form in my head, one separate from the search for Dr. Ogai. If I find the doctor there, great. If I don't, well, I think I can find another use for his mountain retreat. I know you've been lonely, but try to bear it for a little while. Okay. She nods, then looks questioningly into my eyes. Fuminori, you really want a family and friends, don't you? More people you can spend time with? Well, that would be more fun, yeah. Fearing that Saya will start sulking, I hurriedly add, but don't get me wrong, even if I could have lots of friends, you'll always be special to me. I know. Thanks. Arigato. Giggling, Saya rubs her cheek against mine. I'll find something to make you happy, something just for you. This one's going on a bit more. That other choice, just ends it there. This one keeps going. Let's hope we have enough time to get through it. Today, all of Koji's classes were in the morning. On his way to meet Yo for lunch after his final lecture, Koji suddenly gets a call in the middle of the hallway. Without thinking, he reaches to his belt for his new camera phone, but curses when he realizes the ringtone is coming from the old phone in his bag. He hasn't transferred his contact list yet, and calls still come to his old phone from people who don't know the new number. When he finally fishes the phone from his bag, the name he sees on the display sends a chill up his spine. Fuminori. Why now? What does he want? It's hard to be happy about a call from Fuminori after the incident at our guy's house. Hello? Hey Koji, you're done with class for today, right? Yeah. Of course Fuminori would know that Koji is free on Thursday afternoons. I need to talk to you about something. Can you come to the parking lot? Now? Yeah, I'll be waiting. Fuminori hangs up without another word. What's gotten into him? What does he want? Koji wonders as he sticks the phone into his jacket pocket. The sudden change is disturbing after a week of Fuminori avoiding both Koji and Yo. Maybe he's finally ready to talk, in which case Koji should probably consider this a good thing. However, you can't shake the feeling that something is wrong. Did I keep you waiting? Nah. In the parking lot, Koji finds Fuminori leaning against the fender of Koji's car. The last time they met was in the darkness of an abandoned house. This is the first time in over a week that they've spoken face to face in the light. Perhaps this is why Koji senses something strange in Fuminori's expression. He's not sure what exactly, but something has changed. I think I told you before that I'm looking for information on a man named Ogai. Yeah, I got that. Well, it's starting to get more complicated. Looks like I can't handle it by myself after all. Fuminori seems more relaxed than before. He used to be tense all the time, like he was terrified of something. Now his expression is calm. He's even wearing what resembles a sheepish grin. I need your help, Koji. Nevertheless, some instinct is telling Koji that Fuminori's changes are not for the better. Why the sudden change of heart? Koji asks, keeping his expression neutral to conceal his suspicion. You're curious, aren't you? Fuminori responds coolly. His smile, unreadable as ever, offers no glimpse of his true motives. You searched Dr. Ogai's house after me. It's a waste of time for us to look for him separately. We should team up. Why? Why does he sense malice, thick and ferocious, lurking behind Fuminori's smile? Anyway, I need your car today. Mind driving? I guess not. Fuminori's car was destroyed in the accident, so Koji isn't surprised that he needs a lift. Koji unlocks his car and gestures for Fuminori to take the passenger seat, then gets behind the wheel and starts the engine. Well, where are we going? North Tokichi, near the Nasu Heights. Tokichigi? Koji can't believe his ears. Here's the address. Fuminori says, handing Koji a photo with an address on the back. We need to find this building. Seriously expects to be driven over 100 kilometers and back? Koji doesn't know whether to be angry or impressed. If we leave now, we should get there by evening, right? Yeah, maybe. Koji sighs heavily, tapping the steering wheel as he calms himself down. Now that he's come this far, the only thing he can do is see his friend's craziness through to the end. Is it a vacation home or something? Probably. Dr. Ogai should be there. Koji isn't looking forward to meeting the owner of that creepy house, but he's even more uneasy about letting Fuminori go alone. Looks like he just has to grin and bear it. Might not get back until night. Sorry for the trouble. Don't mention it. Koji drives out of the parking lot, leaving the rest of what he'd thought to say unspoken. Fuminori's smile seems wrong somehow, like a mask hiding his true face. Yeah, this choice is a lot longer. He finds herself sitting alone in the cafeteria, searching for a familiar face as her lunch cools on the table in front of her. She was hoping to see Koji today, but he might have had other plans that wouldn't be at all unusual, normally. Well, normally, Omi and Fuminori would pick up the slack, but Omi and Fuminori aren't here anymore. Mia puts down her chopsticks, her appetite ruined by the lack of company, and by the anxiety eating at her. Omi is missing, Fuminori has turned on her, and she has no idea why. If Koji were here, she would count on him to distract her with some idle conversation. Now that she is all by herself, Io becomes keenly aware of how little tolerance she has for loneliness. She begins to feel paranoid, like the whole world is plotting to take from her everything that she cherishes. What is going on here? Where has Omi gone? Is Fuminori really unrelated to her disappearance? Or is he the key to this mystery, as Koji and Dr. Tambo suspect? Io recalls the events of last Thursday, alone and without an outlet for her pain after Fuminori verbally eviscerated her. Io was lucky enough to run into Koji. Although he could hardly make her problems go away, his kindness was a comfort. At the same time, Omi was on her way to Fuminori's house, and she hasn't been heard from since. Io has only been aware of Fuminori's connection to Omi's disappearance since yesterday, when Koji revealed the truth during their visit to the hospital. What if A new possibility recurs to her. A reason why Omi suddenly decided to visit Fuminori. What if it hadn't been coincidence that Yo ran into Koji that day? What if Koji and Omi had known what transpired between her and Fuminori and had decided to act separately? Omi might have seen the confrontation in the country yard, courtyard. She might have been eavesdropping. It's not unthinkable. As the idea forms in her mind, Yo feels as though something is tearing apart her body from the inside. It's only a possibility, but if it's true, then whatever happened to Omi is Yo's responsibility too, isn't it? Yo clutches her head, groaning in agony. The food on her tray is now cold, not that she would have eaten it anyway. Despite her frustration and anxiety, Yo is unable to act on her own. She's never been good at adapting to challenges, and no one would ever call her proactive. She hasn't the slightest idea how to respond to this situation. If Omi were here, she would probably tell Yo to think positive and trust her instincts. Yo has always depended on her best friend's energy. Now that Omi is gone, Yo realizes just how weak and useless she is. She can only sink deeper and deeper into the abyss of self-loathing. The sudden ringing of her phone pulls her back from the brink of despair. In the text message, there's no title, and the sender is Omi. Yo cries out in shock. The message itself is even more baffling. If you want to know about Sakisaka Fuminori, come to his house alone, tell no one. The message bears no trace of Omi's personality, but Yo can't deny that it was sent from her phone. Oh no! Now I'm worried that frickin' Fuminori is gonna kill Koji, and Saya's gonna kill Yo. She takes a deep breath to calm herself before typing a reply, taking care that excitement doesn't cause her fingers to slip. Is that you, Omi? Where are you? Yo presses send. The screen shows that her message was received. As she waits for a reply, her mind fills with questions. Is someone else using Omi's phone to send text messages? If so, why to her? That's just my guess, though. That's my theory, that they're collaborating to get rid of these people that knew about Omi. Gotta get rid of the evidence. Something suddenly occurs to her. But of course you get use out of Koji first, you know, use his car and stuff. She and Omi have exchanged countless messages over the years, many of which contained the sort of embarrassing confessions that close girlfriends share. At times when her feelings for Fuminori grew too strong to contain, Yo often put them into words for Omi to read. Oh! Okay, maybe Koji won't die then. Maybe this is just Saya seeing that, you know, this chick liked Fuminori and now she's gonna take her out too. Did Omi put a password on her phone? Even if she had, the person who sent the message was obviously able to unlock it, which means that whatever it is has full access to her history. Do you want to know about Sakisaka Fuminori? He reads the strange message one more time. Whoever sent it must believe that Yo has an interest in Fuminori. The phone rings again, startling Yo, but she quickly recovers and looks at the screen. There's no title, and the sender is still Takahata Omi. I'll tell you everything when we meet. Come alone, tell no one. It's not Omi. She would never try to scare Yo with such a mean-spirited prank. Anxiety has brought Yo almost no tears. Her mind isn't made to deal with this. She's got a weak mind. Who is using Omi's phone and promising to reveal Fuminori's secrets? Who? Yo desperately wants advice from Koji. From anyone. She even starts to dial Koji's cell, but a sudden suspicion stops her. The sender might be somewhere nearby, watching her at this very moment. A cold chill runs down her spine as she looks fervently around the cafeteria. Come alone, tell no one. The lifeless characters on the screen are like a knife against her throat. However, it clutches her phone and forces her heart to stop pounding. Isn't this cowardice exactly what she hates most about herself? Doesn't she want to know what she's capable of? Doesn't she want to do more than sit and wait? He realizes that her hand is shaking. How easy it would be to just give in to her cowardice, to convince herself that Omi and Fuminori are beyond her reach. That is what she truly wants, even if it means abandoning dignity and loyalty. She wants to free from the unknown. But she also knows that even escape is beyond her. Yo understands herself well. She knows that no matter how far she runs, regret and self-loathing will consume her after everything has fallen apart. In the end, Yo is unable to overcome her cowardice alone. She lacks both the willpower and the courage to run. The afternoon silence is somehow foreboding. Forbidding? It's not forbidden. Stink is in the air, the stink of garbage left out to rot. Even this perfectly normal residential neighborhood seems ominous to Yo in her current state. She feels like she's standing in the middle of a necropolis? As if everyone in the house around her is dead. Oh, I see. Yo pushes her fear aside and presses the buzzer on the Sakisaka house's front gate. Fuminori wasn't in class today. Is he home? He couldn't have sent those awful messages, could he? She doesn't even want to consider the possibility, so she forces the unwelcome thought from her mind. There's no response from the intercom. Yo doesn't know, of course, that Omi stood in the same spot 1 week ago, staring at the silent intercom with the same confusion that Yo is experiencing now. She, however, is not forced to wait as Omi was. The phone in her pocket rings, catching her off guard. It's another text message from Omi's phone. Come in, the door is open. Yo looks around quickly, a shiver runs through her as she realizes that she's being watched. Searching fearfully for her absorber, Yo spots movement out of the corner of her eye on the second floor of the Sakisaka house. A tightly drawn window curtain just fluttered. The person who sent the message is inside the house. Only now does Yo realize that every other window has its storm shutters closed. No matter what happens inside, no one will ever know. This time, she nearly gives in to the intense urge to flee. But the terror she feels towards her invisible watcher is stronger and will not permit her to turn her back upon the open window. Preemptive F! She has nowhere to run. Yo bursts into tears, unable to take a single step. The phone in her hand rings again, demanding that she enter. She steps through the gate. When she enters the house, an overwhelming stench assaults her nostrils. The house is dark, even though it's in the middle of the day. Fuminori must be out, as his shoes are not in the vestibule. I don't know how to pronounce that. Vestibule? I don't know. However, Yo catches sight of a different pair stuffed behind the shoe cupboard. They look familiar, so she pulls them out of the shadow for a closer look. As soon as she recognizes them, her mind tries desperately to deny reality. They are identical to Omi's favorite shoes. Yo has seen her wearing them many times before, but that doesn't mean Omi is here, she tells herself. They might belong to someone else, someone who bought the same shoes from the same store. There's no way Omi could be here, is there? With a sudden flash of clarity, Yo presses the most frequently used speed dial button on the phone in her tightly clenched fist. The phone dials Omi's number. It takes only a second for the signal to reach the nearest rally station, and then a familiar ringtone echoes through the house. It's coming from the second floor. Someone must still be up there in the room with the moving curtains. Omi's phone rings for just a few moments, and then it stops, as whoever is holding it realizes Yo's intentions. For the first time, Yo feels the definite presence of her formless guide. Who's there? She gathers her courage and calls out into the house, but there is no response. Whoever it is must not want to be seen. Swallowing hard, Yo walks down the hallway to the staircase. Maybe it's Omi, maybe it's Fuminori. Surely it's just the two of them, playing a prank on her. Koji might even be here with them. Yo's mind fills with confronting images of her friends. She needs to believe that there is still hope, otherwise she could not take another step. Is that you, Omi? Fuminori, are you there? She climbs this again with that's such a weird cut in the shot like that. Whatever. As she climbs the stairs one at a time, Yo goes out in a voice choked with tears. When they see her sobbing, they'll probably laugh at her. Let them. It would be the happiest moment of her life. She just wants this torment to end. She tries to move faster, but her trembling legs will not let her. With each agonizing second that passes, she begs for release from this nightmare. The sweet release of death. After climbing for what seems an eternity, Yo finds herself standing in the second floor hallway. No sound greets her, there is only the gloom brimming with silent malice. Omi, Omi, are you there? She shuffles forward, calling out in a weak voice. Come out already, please. I can't take this anymore. The door in front of her is half open. It must lead to the room that overlooks the front gate. Yo watches helplessly from a corner of her mind as her body, seeming to move on its own volition, slowly opens the door. The room is empty. The damn stinking air clings to Yo's skin. Please, stop this. She's at her limit, unable to take a single step more. Her spirit has been utterly crushed. Perhaps this is the moment her tormentor was waiting for. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I wasn't expecting that. Someone grabs Yo's arm from behind, something flexible and strong, like a slime-covered rubber. I just wasn't expecting her boobs to pop out, you know? As the thing binds her limbs, finger-like appendages tear roughly through her blouse and force their way inside. Yo screams at the top of her lungs, amazed that she still has the strength to do so. Responding to her distress, primal energy surges through her body as she flails wildly to free herself. However, the grip of the thing behind her remains unbreakable. With escape impossible, Yo can only scream louder as something cold and wet slips under her bra and wraps itself around her breasts. She is helpless to resist as the invader squeezes her breasts and sucks at her nipples, which have gone stiff with fear under the horrifying onslaught. Her ears are filled with the sound of something slimy sliding under her skin. As the loathsome assault on her breast continues, the unimaginable terror threatens to drive Yo utterly mad. Her throat is already raw from screaming, and now she can't even breathe as she struggles desperately against her attacker. Suddenly, the thing releases its grip on her breast and pulls out from under her bra. Yo falls to the floor, unable to support herself on her unresponsive legs. The creature that grabbed her is still there, lurking in the dark corner of the room. She can feel it watching her, but can't bring herself to turn around. She knows that seeing it will likely destroy the last vestiges of her sanity. From close by comes the beep of buttons being pressed. Yo hears a cheerful electronic sound, terribly out of place in this room, and sees the phone in her hand blink coldly. A new text message has arrived. She was powerless to stop herself from reading the characters on the screen. You're pretty, and your breasts are so big and soft, I bet they're good for attracting males. Yikes. Now she has her answer. The message from Omi's phone was sent by the thing that just mauled her breasts. Kami-sama? God. Yo curls up into a tiny sobbing ball, unable to raise her voice or even move. Oh God, please save me. The creature makes a burbling sound. Yo somehow understands that it is laughing at her. That must be how you tempted Fuminori. You tried to steal him from me, didn't you, thief? Whoa, God damn it. Oh my God. Jesus Christ, that's an intense image. Something cold seizes Yo's ankle, then travels slowly up her legs until it has covered her entire lower body. Some primal female instinct tells her exactly what is going to happen. She will be raped, powerless to resist a fate worse than death. Stop. She pleads feebly, even though there is no hope that the inhuman creature will be merciful. Please, not that. It's being covered, right? Yeah. Can't show this in a Christian manga. She hears its bubbling laughter again. The thing is enjoying her sorrow, her despair. Yo no longer has the strength to resist the monster on top of her. She is only able to shiver in revulsion as the cold, slimy thing covers her body. The sight grows dim as her mind sinks deeper and deeper into a black swamp-like abyss. Her breasts are toyed with, her nipples are sucked on, and a weight pushes itself between her legs, but it all seems so far away. I won't kill you. Though her mind is now barely functioning, Yo hears a voice whispering to her inside her head. It is a girl's voice, sweet and sinister, with the cruel innocence of a child gleefully plucking the wings from butterflies. Instead, I'll let you share in our happiness. Rejoice, Yo will love you to death. The soft voice is a stark contrast to the unyielding strength that drives irresistibly into Yo's core. The pain is sharp and savage, greater than anything she has ever felt before. It should be unbearable, but there is no longer enough left on Yo's mind to recognize it as pain. Oh. While she stares blankly at the thing slithering deeper and deeper into her body, an idle thought floats through her fading consciousness. I've still never been kissed, have I? Jesus Christ. Man. My throat is really getting there because I've been going for so long today. Have I been going since 12? I have. I only took like a half an hour break. Well, including the 10-minute break. It was more than that, and 10-minute break. Maybe all up it's almost been an hour now, but an hour breaks are what, 12? So I've been going for like 5 hours all up? Jesus. A true stream of grind. It's just surprising because it's visual novel. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know, I just want to get this one done, but I'm also being, I don't know, something about it. It's pulling me in, man. I'm interested to see what happens next. It has begun to snow by the time they pass Utsunomiya on the Tohoku Expressway. So, they said they wouldn't kill... Saya said she wouldn't kill Yo. So I guess she's gonna fuck with her mind too, but... I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Hope the road's unsnowed out, Koji says. In the passenger seat, Fuminori is gazing out of the frosted window in silence. He's been in this trance-like state for almost an hour now. Taking advantage of his inattention, Koji stares unabashedly at Fuminori from the corner of his eye. He still doesn't understand the danger signals that he's been getting from the man. Fuminori has stopped avoiding Koji and has even looked him in the eye when he talks. So why does he seem even more distant now than he did when he was trying to push his friends away? Fuminori's posture is noticeably relaxed, but his gaze never wavers, not even for a moment. It's as though he's just focused on a clearly defined feature that he has chosen to bring about, one that has no place for the needs or wants of others. Right now, Fuminori is complete. Koji cannot help but feel that beneath his bland exterior is a core of solid steel that no one can touch. About Omi, Koji says suddenly, trying to gauge Fuminori's reaction. It's been a week since she disappeared, and we still haven't heard from her. Oh, Fuminori replies curtly, still staring into the distance. That's not good. I wonder what happened to her. Fuminori's tone is completely emotionless. Koji might as well have asked him about the weather, or the condition of the mountain roads near their destination. I asked you this before, but you're sure you don't have any idea what happened to her? Not a clue, Fuminori answers, in exactly the same tone that he used when Koji first questioned him, following Omi's disappearance. Koji's eyes narrows. It's like you don't give a damn. That's not true. Finally, Fuminori shows some emotion. He sounds hurt, like he can't believe Koji could think such a thing. She disappeared on the way to my place, didn't she? Of course I'm worried. Sudden frustration wells up inside Koji. If possible, he'd like nothing more than to beat the secrets out of Fuminori's head. Koji is worried sick about Omi. To have his concern brushed off so coldly would be unbearable coming from a complete stranger, but from Fuminori, who was his best friend, it's... Fuminori never used to be this callous. Even if Koji tried to interrogate him, he'd probably never find out what changed him so. If Fuminori was still just hiding inside that shell he'd erected around himself after the accident, Koji might have been able to get some answers out of him. With this sly, evasive Fuminori, however, there's nothing Koji can do. Fuminori will never reveal his true intentions, not to anyone. All that's left then is for Koji to discover the truth on his own. Omi was going to talk to you about Tsukuba, you know? Oh? Fuminori smiles bitterly at the mention of Tsukuba's name, perhaps feeling sympathy for her pain. To Koji, however, it seems like pity. the sort one directs at an ant or a worm. I wouldn't know what to say, to be honest. It's been hard to talk to her after what happened. Unbelievable. If Fuminori's feelings for Yo were really this cold, then he would have rejected her when he first confessed to him. But he didn't. Or at least, the Fuminori before the accident didn't. Once again, Koji can't help but wonder if the man who looks like his friend is really a different person who only possesses the memories of Sakisaka Fuminori. The snow stopped falling when they get off the East Nasu Flats interchange. But there, that was the whole thing. The area must already be getting a lot of snow, however, as the nearby mountains are covered in white beneath the trees. By the time they turn off the highway and into the mountains, road conditions are already bad enough for Koji to regret having forgotten tire chains. Nevertheless, he continues to power his car up the precarious slopes with only a road map to guide him. In places like this, an address isn't enough to pinpoint a location. His only choice is to drive down every road, including private roads that aren't even on the map, while searching for something that matches the photograph. Who would buy a home in a place like this? It's far from prying eyes. That must be why Dr. Agai chose it. The more he hears about Agai, the less Koji wants to meet him. Fuminori is the one who spots the narrow road half hidden in the trees. It's practically an animal trail overgrown with weeds that are tall and strong enough to withstand the weight of the snow. Is this really a road? Koji stops the car and sticks his head out of the window to stare into the dark forest, but he can't see where the path leads through the tightly packed trees. How does it look to you? Fuminori hands Koji the photo, which he compares to the mountain ridges visible beyond the trees. Yeah, it's definitely the right angle. Let's check it out. Fuminori's tone is as flat as always, but there is quiet, but there is some quiet intensity in his voice that leaves no room for argument. Although Koji is worried that his car's suspension won't be able to handle the terrain, there's no turning back now. He shifts into second gear and starts down the frozen road. Second gear. The sun sets early at high altitudes. As the car creeps up the mountain path, Koji catches glimpses through the trees of the gradually darkening sky. The forest is completely still. The forest is completely still, with no sound save for the rumble of the car's engine and the crackle of snow and brush beneath its tires. Fuminori is once again staring silently through the front window. I think I keep saying Funimori. Or Fuminori? Do I say Fuminori, which is correct? I don't know. Whatever, you guys know what I mean. In the ominous silence, Koji feels the same faint chill that he felt when standing before Ogai's suburban home. It feels wrong, as though he is traveling deeper and deeper into a world not his own. After some time, a blocky shape suddenly appears amid the trees, standing out against the twilight sky. Koji turns off the engine and compares the structure in front of him to the picture in his hand. A perfect match. Before he can tell Funimori, however, his friend is already out of the car. Oi! Realizing that it's pointless to call out to him, Koji shakes his head, grabs the flashlight from the glove compartment, and follows Fuminori across the snow-covered yard. The photo must have been taken recently, as the old rundown cabin before them has clearly been left to the mercy of the elements for some time. The front door appears to be locked, but Fuminori kicks it down without a second thought. Koji just watches, knowing that nothing he could say now would matter. All of the windows are shut with heavy curtains, and the gloom inside is thick and stifling. Fuminori turns on his own flashlight and starts rummaging through the cabin without regard for his owner's privacy. Koji is reluctant to do the same, but it is obvious that this mountain retreat has been abandoned for a long time, just like the house in Tokyo. There's no point in being considerate now. He goes to search a different room. Soon after entering the cabin, however, he realizes that their search is meaningless. There's nothing inside but the bare necessities of life. Some rooms are even completely empty, save for a thick layer of dust on the floor. Of what few pieces of furniture are present, more than half appear to have never been used. There's an empty chest of drawers without a single scratch or handprint, but bearing the telltale signs of mold and moisture damage. The condition of the cabin is eerie, though in a different way than the filthiness of the house in the city. It's like someone put together a mock-up home and then left it to decay. The only sign that anyone lived here are found in the toilet, the bath, and kitchen, and the bedroom. It appears that the cabin was never used for anything but eating and sleeping. Beneath the darkened sky, the snow itself seems to glow with a cold white light. The scene is like something out of a fairy tale, but to Koji it serves only as an unpleasant reminder that he has stepped outside the reality that he knows. Next to the front porch is a plain wooden door half buried in the ground. It's locked, of course. Koji sees no reason to restrain after what Fuminori did to the front door. The door offers surprisingly little resistance to Koji's heavy kick, breaking open to reveal a set of concrete stairs leading down into a pitch-black basement. Hang on, I need a drink. My throat's dry. Whew. Okay. Koji would prefer to leave such a forbidding place to Fuminori, but it's not like he can just ask him to take his place. He descends into the chilly darkness, the beam of his flashlight leading the way. It turns out to be nothing in the basement but a storage room and a boiler, exactly what one would expect to find in an isolated mountain cabin. A few packages of preserved food sitting on the shelf have long since passed their expiration dates, and the boiler doesn't appear to have been used in years. Koji guesses that her guy's mountain home has been abandoned longer than the house in Tokyo. Well, that would make sense. Was Fuminori simply mistaken when he said that her guy might be here, or was he lying from the beginning? Not sure what to do next, Koji goes back up the stairs and walks around the outside of the cabin, and there he finds the backyard. Oh, you're gonna get pushed down the well, buddy. It's in much worse condition than the front. Also, is this a reference to Ring? Is this a Ring reference? So it feels like a Ring reference. It's even like the same kind of yard design. I'm just gonna assume this is a Ring reference. You know what? I'm gonna prove it's a Ring reference. Look at that. Yeah, it's like the exact same. You can't see it because I haven't done anything, but do this, do this. OBS. There we go. I'll just make that a more reasonable size. Look. Look at that. It's a Ring reference. Totally has to be. Totally has to be. Okay. It is in much worse condition than the front yard, having been mostly reclaimed by the forest. It must have been neglected even when the cabin was still in use. The remnants of the woodshed lie in the yard, the mushrooms growing on it speaking to how much time has passed since its collapse. Next to the rotten logs, however, stand a circle of stones that has not yet succumbed to the elements. A well. The well has no bucket or pulley, and when Koji peers carefully into it, he sees that the water is no longer flowing. It's probably less than 10 meters deep, depending on how much mud is piled up inside. Koji's search of the cabin has revealed nothing of interest inside or out. Leaning against the edge of the well, Koji wonders why a guy bought this remote home deep in the mountains and what he was doing here. As far as Koji can tell, there's no sign that more than one person never stayed here. It's far from prying eyes. Fuminori's words play back in Koji's head. Could this have been a sort of secret refuge, a place to remain hidden from the world? That would explain why there's nothing to suggest that whoever lived here did anything more than eat and sleep. Koji suddenly remembers the doctor he met yesterday at Teen University. Maybe he should know something. Takes out his phone and calls up the number. There's barely a signal, but it manages to get through. Koji hopes to soon dashed, however, when his call goes straight to Dr. Tambo's voicemail. Considers calling back later, but realizes that it would be hard to talk to her with Fuminori around. Fuminori would not at all be pleased to learn that Koji and Yo went to see his doctor. Koji decides that he'd better tell the doctor what he can while they're still alone. Hello? This is Tono Koji. Thank you for your help yesterday. Koji leaves a clear and concise message explaining that he went with Fuminori to a guy's mountain retreat, giving the address and asking for confirmation that the property belongs to a guy. I'll call again when I get back to Tokyo. Goodbye. But he's gonna die now. After hanging up, Koji thinks back to their visit in the hospital. Is Dr. Tambo actually investigating... What? Oh, actually investigating like she said she would. Her reluctance to speak of Dr. Agai is weighing on his mind. He talked to Yo about it on the way home, but they were unable to decide whether the doctor could really be trusted. Speaking of which, how is Yo doing? Koji hasn't seen her today. Oh yeah, how is she doing? Well, sorry Koji, but he didn't say a word to her about his trip to Chigi. She might be worried, especially so soon after Omi's disappearance. Thinking to check up on her, Koji dials Yo's number and is surprised when it rings longer than it usually does. Did she forget her phone somewhere? Just as he's about to give up, the call connects. The first thing Koji hears is a strange sound. It's not signal interference, but some kind of wet, distorted noise, like the voiceless groans or perhaps sobs of someone far away. No, that's exactly what they are. The person on the other side is crying. Whoo, baby. Oh no, whoo, boy. Yeah, Chester, he's about to... Oh. Scuba, is that you? Who's there? There's a response, but is it really Tsukuba's voice? It's too twisted with agony for Koji to tell. Panic surges through Koji as he realizes that something is terribly wrong. It's Koji. Tana Koji, is that you, Tsukuba? Where are you? After a short period of nothing but pained moans, words start coming through the speaker one by one, as though each takes an act of will. I was attacked by a monster. And now there's something wrong with my body. What? What happened? Are you alright? You must be delirious because Koji can't understand a thing she's saying. Her gasps and wheezes, however, are enough to tell him that she's in unimaginable pain. I'm rotting away. My skin is melting. My ear just came off. It's not making any sense. Koji feels despair seize his heart in an iron grip. What is happening to Yo now, 100 kilometers away? Only her voice gives any hint of what she's going through. There's nothing he can do for her. Help me, Koji. This isn't how my fingers are supposed to look. Bro, moment, yeah. Call the cops, Subaga. Call for help. No, I can't let anyone see me like this. Io suddenly breaks into a violent hacking cough as though trying to expel something filling her throat. Scuba. Oh, hang on. Oh, I was getting some dropped frames there. We're good now. Koji screams into his phone, his reason overwhelmed by unimaginable horror. I was worried it would go out, so I'll just say now, if it goes out again, I'll just stop if the internet shits itself again. But as long as it doesn't, I'll keep going while I can. It's just that if I restarted the stream after the internet shits itself, it would only last for like not as long, and so I'd rather just, I don't know. Whatever, let's just keep going. Which is why he is unable to react when the phone is suddenly knocked from his hand, and also why he didn't notice Fuminori sneaking up on him until it was too late. What? Fuminori seizes Koji's lower jaw with his right hand, cutting off Koji's angry shout. Koji can hardly believe the strength of the small man's grip. His biggest mistake was leaning back against the well. There is nothing to grab onto as Fuminori pushes him backwards over the edge. He can only flail his arms vainly against the air. Koji soon loses his balance entirely. He feels a terrifying weightlessness as the world spins before his eyes. Before he can realize what has happened, his back strikes something with tremendous force. He thrashes wildly as cold, dirty water fills his mouth and freezes him to the core. Only when his fingers find the wall of the well is he able to regain his sense of direction and right himself. On his hands and knees in the mud, Koji vomits filthy water out of his lungs. Fuminori! He tries to shout, but it comes out as a hoarse groan distorted by the echo in the cramped space. Fuminori's laughter, on the other hand, is as clear as a bell. Sorry for interrupting your call, he says scornfully. Yeah, I'll return this. Fuminori cusses to... Why would you do that? Why would you give him a phone he can call people with? Fuminori tosses Koji's phone into the well. Koji catches it just before it hits him in the face, but finds that the... Oh, okay. Battery pack has been removed, rendering it useless. Yeah, I was gonna say. What the hell are you doing? This is no joke. It's a miracle that Koji is uninjured. He could easily have broken his neck. And just because he's not hurt doesn't mean that he's safe. Koji feels around the inside of the well, searching for something to hold on to. But the mud-covered stone offers no purchase. It's obvious that he won't be able to get out without help. Too bad the fall didn't kill you. Now you have to freeze to death. You really have no luck, Koji. You can't be serious, Koji starts to say, but trail off as the pieces finally come together in his head. Today's sudden change in Fuminori's attitude, that smile that always seemed somehow malevolent. Fuminori hadn't been smiling at Koji, but at the thought of his friend's death. Why? He can't wrap his head around this turn of events. Why would Fuminori try to kill him? True, Fuminori had wanted Koji to stay out of his business, but is that really a motive for murder? It's not that I need you dead right now, exactly, but you might have become trouble later on, so I figured I might as well take advantage of this remote location to, well... Might as well. You doing this on a whim? Do you really need a reason to die? Fuminori replies coldly. Sounds truly amazed that Koji would ask such a thing. What makes you so special, Koji? People die for no reason at all. My parents did, and I almost followed them. You're crazy. Come up with your own reason, why don't you? You'll have plenty of time down there. Fuminori disappeared from view, leaving Koji alone in the darkness with nothing to connect him to the outside world. Fuminori! Hey, Fuminori! Koji shouts at the top of his lungs, knowing beyond a doubt that if Fuminori leaves, all hope to rescue will vanish with him. No one will ever hear him calling for help from the bottom of this mountain well. It's Tsukuba, she's in trouble. Hey, Fuminori, listen! Get me out of here! In his desperation, Koji no longer comprehends the futility of begging for mercy. No god or devil will answer him. His only hope is that Fuminori will have a change of heart. Praying for a miracle, he keeps calling Fuminori's name. Eventually, the sky grows as dark as the bottom of the well. Koji can no longer make out the edge of the opening, and he has long since lost track of how many hours he has been screaming. Nevertheless, he continues to scream, for he knows that the despair silence brings will kill him. Well, the cold will also do that. Whoa! Oh, I guess this is what the forest looks like to him? Ugh. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I feel it's like what's the game? What's that game called? Half-Life. It's like freaking Half-Life 1 is what it was what it feels like. I feel great. The same feeling that you get when the last piece of a difficult puzzle slides smoothly into place. I've killed a man and no one will ever know. You've killed like 2 men at this point, right? It is a long way back to civilization, but neither the cold nor the exhaustion can ruin my good mood as I walk around down the snow-covered mountain road. I was tempted to use Koji's car, but that would have introduced a flaw into the plan. I don't want anyone to connect me to his disappearance. Jesus. Yeah, I was thinking, why don't you use the car? But yeah, they'd be able to trace that back to him. The plan formed in my mind the moment that I realized how remote the location was. Even if I couldn't find anything to lead me to Dr. Agai, his absence would at least prove that the cabin has been utterly abandoned, in which case it would be the perfect spot to take care of a problem. And you coming all the way out to Tochigi wouldn't be a waste of time. Jesus. I didn't even need to use the meat cleaver hidden under my jacket. Well, it's like fate itself provided me with the perfect setting. That idiot didn't even realize the danger he was in, and his phone call distracted him enough for me to take him by surprise. Now one of the 2 people whose questioning might have caused trouble for him and Saya has vanished from the face of the earth. All that's left is to eliminate the other. Well, I mean, Saya's taking care of that. I must have underestimated her just because she's less aggressive than Koji. Even she shouldn't be able to see a connection between the disappearance of her 2 friends. I suppose I should be thankful that it was Yo to whom Koji was talking on the phone. If he'd reported our location to a third party, I'd have to track down and eliminate that person too. But he did, you fool! He did! The doctor! I'm a little worried about what they were discussing, but judging by how Koji was screaming into the phone, they probably weren't exchanging detailed information. Either way, I'd better get rid of Yo as soon as possible. After walking all night long, I finally reached the Nasu Flats station just as the trains start running. It only takes an hour to get back to Tokyo on the Limited Express. It's not enough time to rest, but I'm too wound up for that to matter. Besides, I don't want to waste any time thinking on a way to kill Yo. Using the cable again would be too dangerous, and I'm not sure... Oh, using the cabin would be too dangerous, and I'm not sure how I'd get her out there in the first place. I just exploded in her face the other day. I doubt that she'll be as quick to trust me as Koji was, which means that it'll be difficult to get her alone. I could ask Saya for her opinion, but even I have some pride. I want to show her that I'm a man who can take care of business. Well, Saya can also take care of business. I thought they were in her cahoots for each one of them to wipe one of them out, but I guess Saya just read the messages on the phone and decided to do this. Unfortunately, I'm unable to come up with anything before I get home. Suppose that I should just be proud of having dealt with Koji, the immediate threat. The search for Dr. Ogai's cabin was a bust, with no trace of him having been there, but I see no reason to be frustrated. Saya isn't all that concerned about the doctor's whereabouts, so looking for him is just something to satisfy my own curiosity. I'm home. It's morning, half a day later than I normally get home, and the sound of Saya running down the stairs tell me just how impatient she was for my return. It makes me feel warm inside. Welcome home, Fuminari. Hey! It's best girl. She throws her arms around my neck, her smile at least 20% brighter than usual. Why did it have to be 20%? 20% brighter than usual. Sorry I'm late. There was a change of plans. It's okay. I'm just about done with my preparations too. Preparations? Sarah responds to my confusion with a mischievous smile. I'm getting a surprise ready for you. Oh god, that's a yikes. What kind of surprise? That's a secret. Anyway, aren't you tired? Do you want to eat? I'll take a bath first. I didn't realize how hungry I am until Saya mentions it. I walked all night without a bite to eat, and now my stomach's emptiness becomes painfully clear. However, I can't sit down to a leisurely meal while covered in the dirt and sweat of the road. I like to grab a quick snack and get in a long hot bath first. I thought you'd say that, so I got the bath ready. You must be cold after being out all night. Yeah, I sure am. I'm amazed by Saya's foresight. She's always ready to give me what I want before I want it. Just to be careful. Okay, yes, it's not... They're in the bath together, so she's naked, and yeah, you can see it all. Sounds like you had a hard time. I'm soaking in the bath together, I told Saya about my adventure. Killing him was easier than I thought. The hard part was getting home. Jesus. The heat of the bath is soothing, as is the sensation of Saya leaning back against my chest as she massages the fatigue out of my stiff leg muscles. A cute little collarbone rises each time she squeezes my leg, and I can see the soft curves of her breasts floating in the water. I'm home. Contentment fills me. I don't even need to sleep to relieve my exhaustion. Just like the living room and the bedroom, the bathroom is painted in the colors that Saya and I find pleasing. I left the entrance and hallway untouched, just in case someone would see inside. So these 3 rooms are the only places I can relax in my own home. It was cold in the mountains, even for winter. I should have worn heavier clothing. I was afraid I'd freeze to death when it got dark. Why didn't you just take that Koji person's clothes? Pushed him into a well, remember? His clothes were with him at the bottom. Ah, sok. Saya laughs and sticks her tongue out bashfully. So now there's just that Tsukuba girl to worry about. She's the only person I can think of who can connect me to Koji's disappearance. After I take care of her, we can finally relax. What? Is the song different? Or is that always in the corner? Maybe that's always been in the corner. So he glances at me over her shoulder like she knows something I don't. Have you already thought of a way to kill her? Well, I've been thinking about it, but I haven't come up with anything yet. I was hoping that you might have some ideas. Leave it to me, she says, grinning with unusual confidence. I've got ways you'd never dream of. It's as good as done. Really? Okay, it should be ready by now. Saya's voice is full of anticipation. She rises from the bath, her naked body glistening through the steam. Come on, I have something to show you. It's maybe safe. I don't know, they're probably gonna see some fucked up shit when they go into the room. Close your eyes and don't open them until I say so, okay? Okay. I've no idea what's going on, but I do as Saya says and close my eyes. She takes my hands and leads me up the stairs. So I wonder what she has in store for me. The sound of crying reaches my ears. I stiffen. Okay, I'm just gonna hide this just in case. Oh, no? Is someone there? No peeking, she admonishes me, then strokes my arm soothingly. Don't worry, there's no danger. Alright. Little by little, the crying grows louder. I can hear the misery and pain in every choked sob. At first, I'm amazed that Saya could let someone in our house after what happened 2 days ago. But then I realize that something is strange. Isn't Saya the only one whose voice can carry such clear emotion to me? Though my eyes are still closed when Saya leads me into the bedroom, my ears tell me that there is someone only a few feet away, and yet I smell none of the human body odor that normally turns my stomach. Okay, time to say hello. Open your eyes. Open my eyes and am struck dumb by what I see. Yeah, I think that's not safe. She's naked. Tsukabe-yo is curled up on the floor with not a scrap of clothing to cover her shivering body. When I first lay eyes upon her naked flesh, I'm entranced by the sensuality of her gorgeous proportions, far more mature than I would have expected for her usual pure and innocent appearance. Wait, forget about that. Why is she in my bedroom, naked? Moreover, why is she... Well, how does she look to you? She's beautiful. But why can I... It doesn't make sense. This is the Tsukuba-yo I remember, not the putrid creature whose attentions I found so unbearable after the accident. My senses recognize her as the human that she is. This girl loves you, you know? I do know, but I've never told Saya. How did she find out? So I decided to change her body into one that you can love back. She got grouped. I mean, probably a bit more than that, but sure. Saya pauses to gauge my reaction, then continues with a satisfied nod. I made her like me. What? How? I still don't understand why Saya chose Yo, but this last statement is even more baffling. She changed Yo? Do you remember what I said the other day? I can mold the bodies of other living things. Yes, I remember. She claimed to have done something to Suzumi's brain. I didn't doubt her sincerity then, but I suppose that some part of me thought she was exaggerating. I hadn't seen her handiwork firsthand, but now? It was a big change this time, not like the little tweak I made to the man next door. This is how my abilities are really meant to be used. This is my first time doing it, though. Is this really Yo? Yo finally notices my presence and turns her heads to face me. I see a faint glimmer of recognition in her glassy, unfocused eyes. Her features are exactly as I remember them. Incredible. It's far beyond cosmetic surgery. Once a twisted creature, unrecognizable as human, Yo is now the very image of human femininity. There is no similarity between what she was and what she is, which can only mean that she has become something utterly inhuman. According to Saya, she has become what Saya is. No one on this planet knows more about the biology of Homo sapiens than I do, Saya declares, her voice full of pride for her first creation. I've studied a lot. Studied? How did you learn this? Who taught you? When? She couldn't have learned it from Dr. Agai. No teacher on Earth could impact such knowledge or skill. Come on, don't you remember what you've been filling me with every night? Saya blushes. Ah, I see, that's why she wanted it. It's like a blueprint for the human body. I can decipher it, and then I can bend it to my will. What is she really? I've accepted that she isn't human, but there's more to her than that. Saya is something that far transcends my species. Bruh. She used semen as a blueprint! Well, my dinner's ready, and I am actually really hungry, so let's see. How do I save? Do I just... There we go. Save complete. And then if I open the menu, it's there? Yeah, it's there. Okay. Pog. Okay, so I don't actually get to finish it today. I said in the Katawa Shoujo stream that I would continue Katawa Shoujo on Friday, but that's wrong because Friday will still be like right before Halloween, I think. Yeah, Friday will still be, or is it's the 31st that's Halloween, right? Whatever. Friday will be close to Halloween. And so Friday will we continue this and probably finish it because but yeah, I'm surprised that one choice just like kind of ended it there. And the other choice is actually like, oh, here's the rest of the game proper. So, yeah, I'll see you all. If you're here for this game, then I'll see you on Friday. If you're here for anything I watch, then I'll see you tomorrow with Fatal Frame 5, known as Project Zero if you're not in America. But in America, it's called Fatal Frame for some reason. So Project Zero, Maiden of Blackwater, the 5th one on the Wii U. I still have to set up my Wii U again for that. But I love that game. It's a really good horror game. So we're playing that tomorrow. And we'll finish this on Friday. So, see y'all then. You stay frosty. Also, we got a shit ton of viewers right now. We got 6 viewers. This got pretty high concurrent viewers. So if you're enjoying and you're not someone who, wow, poggers. If you're not someone who's following me already, feel free to do that. Feel free to follow. And, you know, then you'll see on Friday, if you're America, that would be Thursday, because I'm Australian, when I stream the end of this. And yeah, if you're already following, well then, thanks for being a follower. Alright, I'll see you all next time. You all stay frosty.